What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Black Man Unfiltered Network. Get your popcorn ready. Ladies, get your glass of wine together right now. Sip it, because we're about to take you on an emotional journey that you've never been on in your life. You're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to be mad, you're going to be happy, you're going to agree, you're going to disagree, and that's what Black Man Unfiltered is about. We want all of you to have a voice, and this is the place where voices are heard. So thank you guys, because we're going to have the conversations that nobody else wants to have, and we're going to come to a medium, we're going to come to solutions, or we're going to agree to disagree, but you're in the right place to do it. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and I want to introduce you guys to all the shows that's on the network coming up on this next slide. Peace!
To Black Man Unfiltered. What's up, my brother? Oh my God. Listen.
My man, Black Man Unfiltered. Shout out to
you guys. Go follow this smart man right here. This smart man right here. Black Man Unfiltered. Go follow him.
It's a great show. It is an absolute great show. You are missing out if you are not tuned in and subscribe to Black Man Unfiltered Network.
I ain't ready yet.
Everybody in this panel, everybody in this chat, before you leave here, make sure you hit the like button, make sure that you are subscribed, because whether you agree or not, you see that this is a higher level of the conversation that we're having. So if you can hang with it, you're more than welcome to come on in and support Black Man Unfiltered and the messages that he's putting out here.
Ladies and gentlemen, y'all can hear me? Give me a 1 in the chat if you can hear me tonight. In the back, if y'all can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Yeah. It is so good to see you guys tonight, man. It's amazing to be here with you guys on tonight. We're going to have a good subject on tonight, guys. Tithe and offering. Scam, fact or fiction? We're about to get it in tonight, man. I got a family backstage that's going to come in and give it to us tonight, and they give it to you raw. Man, we got somebody in the backstage. They even go by the name Raw. That's why it's about to go down tonight, man. Thank you guys for being here. Guys, as you come in tonight, go ahead and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. That's important because this show is going places. This show, I want to do this full time, guys. I want to do this full time. And so with you guys' help, I know I can get there, right? We started off at 26 subscribers and now we're at 1,100. By in the next month or so, we should work really hard to try to get to 2,000, so on and so forth. And so, guys, thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for the cash apps. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for everything that you guys have been doing to support the channel. Now, I do want to also say tonight I want to do things a little different when it comes to the super chats and for when everybody participates tonight. I have some things that I want to bring to the forefront. If any super chat that's going to be $10 or over tonight, I have 3 shuffles for you guys. Now, you know how we get down in the sanctuary. So tonight, I want you guys to look for Deacon Johnson. He's going to be in the building tonight. Every time I get a $10 super chat, I'm going to get you guys involved. And when you send a $10 or more super chat, put in the super chat who you want to celebrate your super chat. All right? I got Deacon Ronnie, I got Sister Shirley, and I got IHOP. I got Mr. IHOP in the building tonight. Mr. IHOP in the building, all right? So that's how we're going to do that. First of all, I want to bring everybody, I want to speak to everybody in the sanctuary, and then we'll bring everybody up and have this conversation tonight. We got Stephen Day in the building tonight. What's going on, family? We got Canadian born, Nigerian, Bob, the big old baby, the Nigerian sledgehammer is in the building tonight. We got Titanium in the building tonight. We got Boss Lady Iris in the building tonight. Real Talk with Mimsy Limbs in the building tonight. We got, let's see here, Big Cap is in the building tonight. All right. We got all the way from Shanghai, China. We Ain't Signing is in the building tonight. Mr. Paul Bennett. Let me see, Mr. Bennett. Hold on. You shouldn't be in the chat. You should be in the bet. Wait a minute. I want to make sure because I think I sent him the link. If I didn't, I am crazy because I don't want to do a show without Mr. Bennett. His perspective is amazing. So let's get Mr. Bennett in here. Right, let's see. All right, Mr. Bennett, you should have it. It should be in your email, sir. All right, so who else we got in here tonight? All right, music tips and reviews with JG. Thank you for being here as well. Hey, that's a nice page, guys. You need to go check him out. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know how I get down. You know how we get down. I got to bring everybody up. To some music. Next week, I'll have some different music. But this week, I just want to finish this month out, remembering the Kevin Samuels. And so I wanted to make sure that we used his background music because, like I said, again, it's good to remember him. A lot of people don't, but it's okay. They'll be all right. They will be fine. I had to go back and watch Vivica Fox today, guys, and all the stuff she had to say about him. And, it was rough. It was rough. But we'll talk about that in the news before we get started tonight. But anyway, let me go ahead and start bringing everybody up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start with the ladies first. All the way from Arkansas. I want y'all to put y'all hands together. She got her fan ready. As soon as she comes on screen, she's going to let y'all see it. Give it up for yours truly. Raw B is in the building tonight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know her. She got her own channel. She's the first book of the Bible, but she's so powerful and so unique. She spelled it a different way. Let's give it up for my girl, the beautiful, the enchanting Genesis, the book of Genesis in the building tonight. Hey, all right. Now, guys, let's get to the guys right now. All the way from Shanghai, China. Give it up for yours truly. We Ain't Signing is in the building tonight. right. And then, ladies and gentlemen, y'all know him as Mandrell, but tonight he said he's the master of the universe. We'll see about that. Give it up for yours truly, my brother from another mother. Mandrell is in the building tonight. All right. Now, guys, I got my brother in here, my little brother. He was born in 1998. Go figure. His name is Jedi Mike in the building tonight. All right, guys, get your pen and paper out. He dropped some jewels last week and dropped the mic and got out of here. He's a father. He's a grandfather, man. He is the guy, all right? And he's one of the guys with the shaved heads because the shaved head guys always get it right. Let's get the guy in here right now. Get your pen and paper out for Bernard S. is in the building tonight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, we got a Category 5 storm in the building tonight. Oh, yes, and everybody knows a Category 5 always tears up a place. Let's give it up for yours truly in the building tonight, all the way from Chaotic Island. Give it up for yours truly. Chaotic Truth is in the building tonight. All right. What's going on, guys? How y'all doing? It's good to see y'all, man. It's good to see y'all. I'll start Robbie. Robbie, how are you tonight? Robbie, you all right? She tripped and fell? Genesis, how are you tonight?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
All right. I'm wonderful. I'm trying to make it. And we ain't signing. How are you tonight all the way from Shanghai, China?
Man, I'm all right, man. Day number 61 in lockdown. Cell block D, but we all good. We all good.
Man, is it looking? Hey, man, what's happening? What's going to happen over there, bro? Y'all not going to get it? I mean.
Well, they're saying release should be between June 1st and June 15th.
Oh,
you know, the lockdown will be over. So, yeah, so sometime between there and then I can be reconnected to my wife and, you know, things will go back to normal.
Wow, man. Well, hey, man, we still sending our thoughts and prayers out to you and your wife, man.
I appreciate it.
Man, because that's hard, man. You know, not seeing your wife for that many days. How is she doing though? Let's talk about how she.
Yeah,
how is
she it's rough, right? It's rough because you know she's been right. I was able to send her like a week's worth of clothes and stuff like that. It's rough to like get washing done because remember, we've been apart since March 17th, and she's been living in the office like all of March, from March 17th to about April 5th. She was literally sleeping on the floor in the office, as a lot of people were, and you know, and you can't get feminine products, you can't change clothes, stuff like that. So for a good 10-12 days, she's wearing the same clothing, underwear, stuff like that, until I was able to get her you know, change her clothes and things like that. And even still, it's rough. Right. Sometimes she has to, even now, sometimes she has to wash her clothes in the bathtub in the hotel. Right.
Wow.
Just because there's no access to things.
Well, man, yeah, man. Well, prayers to you and your family, man. Prayers to your wife. I know she's going to be happy to get back to her husband, man. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, you know, it's been rough, but overall, China's been a good experience. I don't want to complain about it. It's just a rough patch, but, you know, obviously the signs are on the table. You have to move forward. So, you know, we're making our exit strategy, but there's a lot of folks that are stuck here, you know, that has nothing to do with this, because at the end of the day, unfortunately, right, we're in a communist country. So what the government says, you got to do. No questions, no rights.
All right, man. Well, thank you, man. So, Mandrell, how are you doing, man? How have you been doing since the last time I talked to you, brother?
When was the last time you talked to me?
Yesterday, I think it was the day before yesterday. Hell, I don't remember.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, man.
But I'm all right.
Bastard. You good? Okay.
I'm not a bastard. Look at my name, son. I'm phenomenal. Okay.
Oh my God. Hey, Bernard S., what's going on, my guy? The celebrity on the panel, man. Get your pen and paper out, man. What's going on?
Oh, please, man. I'm doing good, man. Just I'm gonna stay here as long as I can. I gotta be to work by 4 a.m. because we have things to do. But I get off at 12, so probably another Mandrell tomorrow.
Right, I feel you. Brother.
Still gonna get up before I go to work and work out. But hey, that's what we do.
Yes, sir.
I'm here.
Yes, sir. It's good to see you, man.
Good
Now,
to see you guys.
Now, guys, I did talk to you guys earlier, and I don't want y'all to laugh. Man, Jerry, you better not laugh. About the coming up with the super chats, guys. And I didn't want to see y'all faces yet until I play the super chat. But tonight, if you do send a $10 or more super chat, I got you guys. I got you guys with some new stuff here that's gonna blow your mind. Now, I was inspired. I see that the security boss, she has the Money Line song, right, where she plays an audio, and then my little brother, Sir Hill Speaks, has a Money Line song with visual. And then I said, you know what? Nobody has a super chat song or anything of that resort with people in the sanctuary. Let me go ahead and get this started as well. So tonight, if you send a $10 more super chat, I'm going to let you choose. When you send a $10 super chat, put in the super chat who you want to represent you in the super chat. We're going to start with Sister Shirley first. Sister Shirley, come to the table. All right, now that's Sister. Now that's Sister Shirley. Now I want to save the best for last. Then we got Sister Shirley. Then we got Deacon Johnson in the building. Deacon Johnson, come to the table. Now, listen, man, that's Deacon Johnson. Now, we got one more left, and this is for you, Mandrea. I thought about you, and I thought about the audience, because I can't do nothing without being funny. I got to I talked to my boy, iHot Ronnie, today, and iHot Ronnie said, hey, man, I'll give you a video for you to put on your super chat. I said, okay, iHot Ronnie, what you got for me? iHot Ronnie, come to the table right now. All right, man. So listen, you guys choose who you want.
Wait, hold on. No, before you go any further, what the fuck about that video makes you think of me? Explain yourself, sir.
Oh my God. So listen,
you said, well, no. We want to hear. What about that video makes you think of me? You see my name? You know the things I can do to you?
Oh my God. Hey man, bro. Hey, I thought about you, man. I thought about you. So
what about that reminds you of me? Come on, man. Give it to me. You gotta give me something.
Oh my God. Guys, thank you for being here. I really do. And now let me get
hilarious, by the way.
Chaotic Truth. How are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing real good, man. I
got you some rest?
Well, I'm good now, but it's we're approaching summer.
Mm-hmm.
The weather's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
We live in the greatest time period ever. I live in the greatest country on the planet. I don't words can't express how I feel, man. Awesome is underplaying it. I feel incredible.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much, man, for being here tonight, brother.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Mr. Bennett is in the building tonight. Mr. Bennett, how are you, man? And how you feeling about Boston today? You know, and all that good stuff. I know you're happy. Got your green on today. I see it. Go ahead.
Well, so far so good. It's 62-54 at the half. So I'll be, as this is going on, I'll be monitoring. But at the same time, it's hard for me to watch an entire game. I get too stressed out. So I kind of keep the score on. If it looks competitive in the third or fourth quarter, I'll tune in. But try not to overstress myself because I get too absorbed into my team. So I'm trying to break away from that a little bit. But I do monitor.
Yeah, now, Mr. Bennett, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel about Jermell Charlo getting stripped of the WBO title if he doesn't fight within 30 days?
Again, it's the WBO, it's the WBC.
He has to meet his mandatory. The WBC, he just got that one. So,
but I'm just saying, but
time.
the WBO, but all of these sanctioning bodies, they have their fighters, they have their agendas,
they have their mandatories.
And as soon, and again, if it was reversed, they would give that guy all year to make his fight. So, so this is what unfortunately is done to many to certain fighters. Either they can't get the big fights, or they do the runaround, or like I said, these organizations, based on where they're from, they do give deference to certain fighters. And it's unfortunate because, again, such a great fight that night, and boxing just can't get out of its own way, unfortunately.
Man, well,
no. The thing is,
we're
I think
talking
the
about the behind the
WBO
scenes
giving
now.
some
We're
great.
talking about the behind the scenes, Andrea, because we'll be all night on that. So anyway, guys, thank you guys. Princess A, thank you for being here. Luke Hazley 20, thank you for being here, Luke Hazley. It's so good to see you tonight. Let's see who has. Brittany B is in the house tonight. Thank you for you being here. Now, Stephen Day got the first $10 super chat, guys, and he says, and I quote, "Thank you, Stephen Day." Stephen Day says he wants Deacon Johnson because he got that footwork. Let's keep it 100 tonight, family. So I'm going to go ahead and give you Deacon Johnson. Ladies and gentlemen.
I like Stephen Day.
Deacon Johnson in the building tonight for that $10 super chat. Here we go. Thank you so much, man, for that super chat. I appreciate it, brother. All right, man. It's good to see you tonight, and thank you for that, man. I appreciate it. So, guys, we got an important conversation going on tonight, man. Tithe and offering.
Yeah. Something you ain't going to get. You keep make those things that long.
Is it a scam? Is it a scam? Fact or fiction? Let's start with my brother, Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett?
Oh, no.
Why him? Yeah, you got to save the best for last, man.
Listen, I want to start out with the calmness of the storm first.
Yeah, but he's gonna come up with logic and common sense and shit. Let me do it.
No, see, I don't know who goes into a conversation wanting to be the asshole. I just don't understand.
I don't want to be an asshole. I'm gonna give you facts, not fiction.
Man, what you said? Okay, you know what? We'll let Genesis go.
It's your show. You go ahead. Do it how you run it how you want it.
We're gonna start with the lovely Genesis tonight. Genesis. Let's talk about tithing, and we're not going to start with the hard question first. Is tithing something that you do, and do you think it's important for you to do as a Christian?
You're switching the questions up.
No. I said I'm going to wait till later to do that question because it's too hard on you right now.
Why? It's easy for me.
Go ahead, Genesis. Go ahead.
I do tithe, and I think it's necessary. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Man, Jerry had to go to the bathroom.
I think what church home you're covered by matters. I see the fruits of the tithes that come into the church that I belong to, so I don't have any problem with tithing.
Absolutely. Okay. And Robbie, what about you?
For the Lord is good and his mercy is everlasting. Oh, praise him and bless his holy name. No, seriously, I tithe sometimes, but I don't tithe in a church. I tithe like in my neighborhood. I tithe with my time. I pour into the less fortunate. I don't know. I feel sometimes in church when they get to the 5th round of collection plate passing, it's a little too much for me.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Okay, absolutely. All right, so let's go around to Bernard S. What about you, my brother?
I did it for years, and I did. So now what I do, since I got burnt out from church from doing sound and stuff, and me having issues with some of the pastors. What I do is I do like raw be privilege, or sometimes I'll see a single mother with a son. I either pay for the groceries from a distance. They don't know who I am, or me and my wife will be out, and we'll pay for a new young family or something that just had 2 kids, and we tell the waitress they can't tell nobody until we leave the parking lot. It's not about us. So I do stuff like that because I have grandkids, and I'd rather for the blessings to fall on them than me. So that's how I do it. But I still do pay myself 10% or more in my banking account. So I did get that principle. But by me not going to church, I do not pay tithes that way, but I pay it the other way.
All right, cool. Now I want to address this real quick. Rush Ribbons, thank you for being here. I haven't seen you here before, so thank you for being here. And make sure you stay in the comments. If you want to come up later when we have callers, that would be great. I'll drop the link for you to come up. That'll be amazing to have your perspective. She said, I don't tithe to these fake preachers. She said, I like Geno Jennings. Now,
who's Geno Jennings?
Oh,
he's a beast.
He's a
beast of what?
Man, let me say, hold on. He's a preacher. But he's the Kevin Samuels of preachers.
Okay, what do you mean?
Yeah, what like he says it like it is. He did an
interview.
Yeah.
He did an interview, and the guy asked him, he said, how much does the church pay you? He said, the church has never paid me. Me and my wife always flip houses from day one. The church don't pay me. He said, that's not the church's job. He said, the church's job for the tithe is to take care of the elders. He's been doing that for 30 plus years. And a lot of big names like Bishop T.D. Jakes, they don't touch him.
Yeah.
Because he sounds like if he's not collecting the salary from the church, then it sounds like he's doing it the right way.
He never has.
He's not crooked, which means TD Jakes will stay away from him because TD Jakes books are hot as fire.
Yeah.
They're all crooks.
Yeah, he's never
they're all crooks.
They're all crooks. You garbage preachers, man.
He's never taken a salary, and
so he claims
all the money that that he receives at the church he gives to everybody else. He has a very successful what do you call it? He flips houses, but I think it's something he does something else too. But
he does something like real estate or something.
Yeah.
He's a beast.
He
takes no shorts.
So church is his primary hustle, and the real estate is how he launders his money from the church, or the other way around. Got it. I see. That's why he don't pay taxes on the real estate money he making. Funnels it through the church.
Right.
Okay, y'all.
That's
I just want everybody to know
I'm gonna say
that Mandrill is going on. He's going on a scholarship.
Right.
He's going on a scholarship, y'all.
That's how it's done, man. I'm not even. The sad part is, Bernard, I'm not even bullshitting. That is how you do it.
Okay, so
that's actually how you do it.
So let me get to Mandrick. I go to the bathroom again. Let me get to Chaotic Truth.
Thank you, guys. On Sundays, for 2.5 hours to 5 hours, depending on which black church you go to, during that few hours across America, Negroes are generally peaceful, and the pastor is that gatekeeper to that peace for that 2.5 to 5 hours. So in my opinion, as a staunch capitalist, and in my opinion, as a person who believes in order, the pastor should be tithe. Now, we all know tithes essentially go towards the actual institution itself, i.e. the building fund and et cetera, et cetera. But the pastor is bringing Negroes together in peace and harmony. There's generally no shootouts, no robbings, no burglaries, because Negroes are in church and they are ordered. And I feel as though that the pastor is deserving of those tithes. Sunday is generally a peace day. Generally, people respect Sundays. They don't play loud music. They don't do these things. So with saying that, I don't believe it's a hustle. I used to believe it was a hustle, but I don't. Now, a lot of you guys probably have building funds, and that building fund has been that fund for 30 years. Don't worry about that, because we all know that the money is going towards the pastor, and it's going towards his Cadillac and his 7-bedroom house. And in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with that, because why should it not? We pay professors when we go to college, right? We pay them to talk to us for 45 minutes once or twice a week for 12, 14 weeks. And what do we really get out of that? You know? So a lot of times people are going to church and they may be depressed. They may be suicidal. They may just need that comfort. And the pastor provides that entertainment, provides words of encouragement, provides some sort of solace for an individual. And a lot of people, you know, may or may not even be spiritual, but people can use the pastor as that vessel. So yes, I don't agree that tithing is scamming. I believe that you should, I mean, truth be told, you should give up the mortgage to your house to the pastor. Go ahead, guys. You got the floor. Not okay, not that far. Not let's not go that far, but yeah, go ahead.
Tithing goes to the church, offering goes to the pastor.
Whatever.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Bennett. Your thoughts?
Well, I can see the sharks are in the water, so.
Oh, you have no idea.
I'm not going to try to long stroke this too much. I gave it some thought to this. The first thing I want to say is, just as a general principle of mine, I really try my best not to judge where people decide to give their money. That's a spirit that can quickly develop in a person on a lot of levels, which you may think is giving to a meaningless cause, may be of value to someone else, and then someone can always judge where your money goes. So I just got out of that practice altogether. You know, if you find where you're giving your money, if you find it of use, if you find it of value, if you see benefit, if it makes you feel good in doing so, then who am I to judge your giving? And that's whether you give to a charity, you give to a church, you give to even in these spaces here. Because one of the things that, again, it's just to show how easy it is to get into a judgmental mindset, even in these YouTube spaces, in the live chats. I see sometimes, you know, the monies that people will give out. And, you know, it's kind of mind boggling, especially in the larger spaces. People give one stream of hundreds of dollars, $1,000 in one chat. And it's easy then to get, you know, to develop a judgmental spirit. Oh, well, that money could have went to someone else or whatever. Why are you giving to him? They're already making money. Why are you giving money to them? And so it's easy to get into that judgmental mindset. So it's something that I'm always, you know, giving to myself. Look, it's not my money, so it's not my business. So I really try not to have this judgmental, oh, why are you giving over there? You should be giving there, whatever. I don't get into that anymore. So I want to start the conversation with that. I'm not trying to be in other people's bags. I just stay out of that. Having said that, I do think it's unfortunate that I think there's a lack of education. There's a lack of knowledge on that. And I know we ain't signers on tonight, him being Hebrew. So I'm sure he'd be able to shed some light on it. But I just think there's just a lot of misinformation about what tithing is, about what the tithe was for, who were the tithes for, what was the purpose of it, certainly in that time. And really the fundamental question that I think we're really grappling with, you know, I know not everybody is Christian here or whatever, but really the question that oftentimes is asked is, you know, are we obligated? Are we still under some sort of commandment to tithe? And I've come to a conclusion over the years that says, no, we're not. But where the scam comes in is not necessarily the giving. Like I said, if you want to give 10%, you want to give 20%, you want to give 90%. You know, I know you got a lot of these billionaires and whatnot, before they die, they're trying to give all their money away. So I got no problems with that. But the way it's taught and the way it's presented is such, it's just misleading. And so you have people believing that they're under some sort of hell's damnation if they're not tithing, that they're sinning against God, or they're giving out of guilt. And I think that's wrong. And those who are in these pulpits who teach that, who promote that, I think that is where the scam is. That is where the manipulation is. But it's unfortunate, again, because if you really want to know the principles of tithing, what it was for, you'll come to your own conclusion. And this is something that I have to, because I have to, in my church, I teach, you know, adult Sunday schools or whatever, so I have to tread this lightly. because it is a major principle of my church. So, I have to tread lightly on these issues. So I just teach this, what this text says, what the scriptures say. And a lot of what's presented is from the pulpits is not what's in the scriptures. So I just give the scriptures and let people just come to their own conclusions about it. If you want to talk to me later, talk to me later. But I tread the issue a bit lightly because I know the heat that it will get. It's interesting that one issue can get you thrown out of a church faster than if you got 7 baby mamas out there. So, it's a very delicate situation, but I just would hope that, I just think there needs to be an education. I think there needs to be a knowledge base. I know the place in the Bible where it's explained. And again, I'm not trying to turn this into a Bible study or Sunday school or anything like that, but I encourage people to look at the scriptures that deal with it. And I can even post those in the private chat if someone wants to look at them. But, I don't think it's that complicated. But again, unfortunately, it's been made into an industry. But again, profiteering in religion, even Jesus had to deal with that. Now, one thing I've always talked about is Matthew 23. Jesus comes out against this very thing, how people use, rather than prophecy, meaning that the telling of what's to come or proclaiming the word of God, they're using for profiteering. And I think that is something that is detrimental, that has been detrimental to us. But the information is there for people who want to look at it. But unfortunately, even for people in church or any religious institution that you're in, I don't know how Muslims feel about tithing or Hebrews, but people aren't doing the research for themselves to understand what's really going on. And so I think that's unfortunate. So I think there needs to be an education. So is the principle itself, as in the scriptures, is that a scam? No, it is not. It served a very good and useful purpose and benefit. And I think there's principles that can be applied today. But the way it's being taught is highly scandalous. And I think that, again, it's unfortunate because we're suffering for it.
Right.
And you about to quote Malachi 3:10? Excuse me.
Will a man rob God? Yet he ain't robbed the entire offering.
Well, that's the thing. But they leave out Deuteronomy. They leave out Leviticus. Right. They leave out Numbers that defines what it was.
Right.
Who it was
cross-reference.
That's right. What the purpose, and nobody is doing that. They throw the Malachi 3:10, and that's like that just closes the subject.
Right.
And again, and they make it such a large thing. But again, Jesus talked about this very thing. It says, you tell people tithe the littlest of your mint and your cumin, but you neglect the weightier matters of the law, justice, equity. Where's the benefit? Are you helping people? Or are you just using it just to make money? And so again, the idea of profiteering at people's expense, that's long established, and it's still going on. But I think the information's there, and I do encourage people to, again, think for yourself and find out for yourself, what the scripture is really saying on the topic. And I think you'll come to a different conclusion. But unfortunately, people would rather be told what to do rather than to do research on their own. So.
Right. Thank you. And thank you for Mr. Bennett. And also Rush Ribbons, thank you for your comment. And like I said, just keep them coming. If you haven't subscribed and liked, man, please go and do so. We would love to have you be a part of the Black Man Unfiltered Network family. Thank you for being here tonight. Also, let's see here. Let's see. I want to get We Ain't Signing in here. Mr. Talk Williams is in the building tonight. Thank you, Talk Williams, for being here. Also, Mr. Williams, thank you for the $10 super chat. All right, and so Mr. Talk Williams, if you want to come up, man, you are. It'll be a great thing to have you on tonight. I think Genesis, we have his information. Will you send it to him? Because I think I had him over here, but my phone's crazy right now. All right, so thank you so much.
Send it to him too if you need me to.
Yeah. I'll send it to him for me.
If you got a Genesis, it's cool.
Okay.
You got it? Okay.
I appreciate you guys. Mr. Talk Williams, thank you for that $10 super chat. All right, so I want to say before We Ain't Signing goes, it says when we talked about the pastor getting the money and all that. Now, I used to be one of those guys. I used to be one of the guys that said that, right? And I'm a reader. I love to read. And I said, man, I need to read up more on this instead of having people tell me things and I go off on what people tell me. You have to do your own research. You have to read. So from a biblical standpoint, if we go, and I know you're familiar with it, Mr. Bennett, if we go to 1 Corinthians 9:14, it says, those who proclaim the gospel and preach the gospel should earn their living by the gospel. So that extension means, so they broke the scripture down by saying, by that extension, this means that the church is responsible for supporting its pastor and ensuring that he is free from worldly care and employment. So that's 1 Corinthians 9:14. All right. So I want to put that out there as well, because if you have a pastor that's a full-time pastor, where's his income going to come from if he's a full-time pastor? But we'll get into...
And that part about worldly care, how far does it extend?
As well, worldly care meaning anything that's, we're not going to say anything that's outrageous as far as not being under the umbrella of God or the teachings of God. We're not going to pay for him to go to the strip club or pay for you to come on now. I'm saying
no, free for worldly care. Doesn't go to a hospital and
no. They pay for his health care. They pay for everything.
So what's this right for him and wrong for me? I'm a child of God too. We're at church. We preach.
No.
I preach the word.
Okay, there's a difference between being a child of God and a person that goes every Sunday and dedicates his life. The good ones now, that dedicates his entire life, Sunday to Sunday, being there for people, counseling married couples, counseling children that have been sexually assaulted, counseling people, marrying people, doing people's funerals, doing funerals for people.
So
you know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah, as you say, the good ones. So all four of them. That's who we should take care of. All four of them, the good ones.
What do you mean? I'm not going to say that either, because I can't judge a man by that. Right, I can't judge a man like it's like you were in the military now and you did a great service for your country, and say for instance it was 30 of you guys standing outside, and it was Mr. Bennett and let's see here, Jedi Mike and Bernard standing there, and he came out and Donald Trump came out and said, "I want to thank you guys for serving your country, but the only ones that really did it were Bernard B, Mr. Bennett, we ain't signing, and Chaotic Truth. The rest of you, you're no good." That would be you've done the work, but he's only acknowledging the other people that did the work. It would be the same as that. It would measure up to that.
Yeah, but I've done the work to make myself a better person and form a true connection with God. So
that's right.
Again, why is this right for him and wrong for me?
Well, because like I said again, who funeral are you preaching this Saturday?
No one's. No one I know is having a funeral.
Okay, are you okay? Are you gonna do the eulogy? No. Okay, now if someone's
I have done eulogies.
Okay, so if it's a marriage going through, are you going to be the marriage counselor and sit down with these couples and talk about marriage? And
I don't want to help people iron out their relationship problems.
Right.
Man.
So there's a position for everybody.
But I have done it. I have done it quite a few times, and I have saved a marriage or two. Believe it or not.
Put a 1 in the chat if you believe that. Put a 1 in the chat if you believe that. On the pound, if you think that's count, raise your hand. If you think
it's not count, it is not count. Genesis is giving me. Genesis is going to interview me.
We ain't
I believe the donkey would talk to Belial in the Old Testament.
Come on.
The moral of the story is he would use anything to get the story across.
Yeah. Hey, so we ain't signing. Thank you for being here, man. So what are your thoughts? We ain't signing.
All right, so salute. So first, I think Mandrell believes. I believe Mandrell believes he saved the marriage, but he ain't doing shit.
They told me themselves. Thank you. You saved our marriage. You're quite welcome.
So first, I want to give a special shout out to Rush Ribbons. Harvard's in the building, fellow Harvard alum. Salute to you. And second, I want to say, when it comes to tithing, okay, so when God led the Israelites out of Egypt into the land of Israel, he gave all 12 tribes land and inheritance, except for the Levitical except for the tribe of Levites, right? The Levitical priesthood. So tithing was that all tribes give 10% to the Levitical priesthood as a way of inheritance. So because the Levitical priesthood is no longer, I do not tithe. And that's the bottom line. And also, if you are a Christian who says that you do not live under the law, then you do not tithe, because tithing is a part of the law. That's all.
And just to make an additional clarification, you said Levitical priesthood. It was actually 10% to the Levites which are the
to the
sons
Levites,
of
to the tribe of
Levi.
Levi.
And then
tribe of
10% of the 10% went to the priests who are the sons of Aaron. So every priest is a Levite, but not every Levite is a priest.
Is not a priest. Correct. But the whole point was tithing was to offset them not getting the inheritance, right, of the land like the other tribes did, like Judah, Benjamin, etc. But yes, that's correct. So since there's no Levitical priest, because there's no Levitical priesthood or the tribe of Levi, no, I do not tithe.
You're muted.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. We ain't signing. I appreciate you, brother. Jedi Mike, what do you got for us? Do you tithe, and is it important to you?
We do tithe, but again, it goes back to we were putting into the ministry. My coming from not only being under someone's leadership, but also my father was a pastor. And one thing that we were doing with our ministry and what we were still doing was that we were still financing so we can at least have a building. We were doing that to pay, at least have a place to stay. We were renting out of in a hotel on Sundays. And trying to have service every day. Now just basically just paid off the the rent, or so for us to eventually so we can save up for where we had our own building, right? And that took about 4 years for that to happen. And the building was not some immaculate type of things that had resorts and all stuff. It just gave us what we needed. And even then, we always make sure that we had things that we were serving the community. That much as my father, he's a full-time pastor, but he was also retired from the Navy, but also working in the shipyard as well. So he had a means of taking care of himself, and yet he wasn't, I said, or my family was not very, very wealthy, but at the same time, we were still, we had what we needed. And the point, I put a link into the, in the back chat, and basically to this pastor right here, when I was a child, we were going to different ministries, and basically I said my parents were a result of someone that were laundering money out of us, and basically taking advantage of tithes and offerings. And I just put that video of that person being interviewed about where all his assets is going to, and how he just basically funneling down his questions about that. And then I actually met this pastor personally. And the point I said I want to go on to about this whole thing about whether it might be a scam or anything like that. Again, it went back in terms of serving the community. I understand in terms of you being, enjoying the fruits of your labor, us being, people and serving, the ministry. But at the same time, it comes to a point where my parents raised me that where they see me, hopefully being a pastor one day myself. They said one thing they made for sure, that you're not going to pimp out the body of Christ. You're not going to try to, extort them in terms of the resources, when we as people are supposed to be led to be used as a vessel and not to extort them. Because and that's the whole thing about the enemy also know my word. That is very true. So don't just think just because I'm saying a bunch of scriptures to you, therefore that I'm ministering not to your issue, I'm ministering to your wallet. So just be, I think that people gotta be careful with that.
I appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. Jay Takashi, what about yourself?
All right, guys, I'm unmuted. There we go. Now, I have been to many churches. It's been a while since I've been to one in the past 3 years, but from off memory, whenever I went to them, there was this whole thing, respecting the ministry, and you give tithes and offerings. And often at times I did think that it always went to the church, of course, to keep the church going, of course, when you're young and you don't know enough. But that was the thought process. But through my ex-girlfriend, her dad was a deacon. I got to know a little bit more about what the offerings were for, about how it regulates throughout the church, and how it benefits the church as a whole. But the thing is, you have to know what type of person is spirit. I guess the word is spearrunning it, and then you also have to understand
the shepherd.
What is their intention?
The shepherd.
Yeah. You got it, brother. That's it right there, the shepherd, exactly. And that's an important thing whenever you're giving tithes. Now, like I said, I haven't been there in 3 years now currently, but the thing for me now is if it's starting to become like more of a scammist type thing, And I'm not trying to say every church will do this. Just saying the ones who do it. I'm going to call them out. I'm not calling every church. I'm just calling that one out. If they're doing that, then that's kind of like a massive backhand to the people who come there to worship the Lord, in a sense, and who are giving tithes in the sense of like for Lord. So I see that as very, what's the word I would use? Very conniving, very underhanded, and very backstabby to those people. Because hey, listen, my grandmother is a Christian. You mess with her money, you mess with me. That's how I see it, church or not. And the Lord can protect you from me. That's all I'm gonna say. Because it's disrespectful for you to do that to my grandma, who's been a loyal servant to the Lord, and you're using the Lord's name as a means to scam people. You out of your damn mind to do that to her, or somebody I love and care about. So, but all in all, if they're doing that, trust me, retribution will be coming for their ass.
All
There
right.
we go.
All right. So now we got the big bad bull, and not the big bad bull, but the pretend big bad bull. Mandrill, what you got for us, brother?
I'm no bull. Just lower the cut. There you go. That's who I am. That's who I am. Okay. Get it right. Get my designation right. Sir.
By the
Thank you very
power.
much. Not that one.
You don't get that reference.
That guy was gay.
Yeah,
That's
where's
not me.
Battle Cat? Where's
where's Battle Cat? Where?
Now, Mandrill, we can't talk. Come on now. You know better than that.
Well, he was a rainbow.
Okay. Go ahead, Mandrill.
He was a white man as Prince Adam. Then he got the sword and turned to He-Man.
Mandrill,
he's a black
what's your
guy.
thoughts on this subject, Mandrill?
A black guy with blonde hair. What is that? Anyway, do I tithe? Define tithe as in given to the church or given some other way to some other person?
Tithing.
Bro, if you
I
don't know
want to
what
give
tithe
you.
is,
Don't give me that definition. No,
I don't want
no.
to give it from a personal anecdotal.
I want to hear your personal anecdote because this whole thing is personal relationship with God. So give it to me. Give me yours,
bro. If you don't know what tithe is, then you
no. You ain't saying that. Fuck the Bible. Fuck the church. What is your definition?
No. We're not going to disrespect people that believe. Mandrill, we're not going to do that tonight, brother.
Do what?
That's disrespectful. You can't be up here to my F the church.
Yeah, bro, you can't
do that, bro. You can't disrespect. People are watching that are believers. You can't disrespect anyone's religion. You know that. We talk about this all the time.
I'm not disrespecting anyone's religion.
You can't talk about
everybody. Okay. Point proven.
Everybody about to get struck by lightning.
Got it.
Man.
Just move away from Mandrill.
Point taken. Got it. Now here's my thing. Do I tithe? No, I don't. Do I think it's a scam? Depends on the church you go to be honest. That's my honest answer because it honestly does. It's subjective. Some churches, the money goes to the right places and to the right people in right hands, used for the right purposes. Other places, like Creflo Dollar's church, come on now, we all know. And those people, I mean, maybe they get what's coming to them, maybe they won't. Who knows? Not for me to decide.
All right, so
here's my answer.
Information man, thank you for being here. Guys, Mandrill's thoughts and what he said is not what the platform is defining tonight. Anybody that believes in anything, any religion, we are not against anything that you believe. All right, you believe what you want. You have a right to believe what you want to believe, and so for that, I would apologize for Mandrill's comments about the Bible because Mandrill has his own mindset about things, and we respect his
apologize me. I'll apologize myself.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I really did not mean to offend anyone.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? That's not my intent. I don't come here to hurt people's feelings. I make people feel bad about what they believe in. You're free to do that, and as long as you're believing what you want to believe because that's what you want to believe, you're exercising your freedom, and I'm all for it. You know what I'm saying? That's your right.
Right.
Use it. So, yeah, to be clear, the entire platform does not share my beliefs on religion or Christianity or any other faiths of note. So, yeah, if you want to come at somebody with the smoke, come at me. Not Black Man Unfiltered and not anyone else on the panel. Bring all your smoke to me. I want it.
I appreciate it. And before we get Information Man here, and which thank you, Information Man, for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, I reached out to you earlier today, so man, thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Here, brother. This Princess A says every church I've attended has made available the church's financial statements. You can see the fruit. Now, I had talked to Mandrell and Genesis. We had a conversation backstage, I think it was, about this very thing. There are a lot of churches that do show you where all the money is and where it's going. Right?
None that I've been
We have a bulletin.
Yep.
None that
Yep.
I've-
Right.
none
We
that
have
I've been
bulletin.
to.
Exactly. And there are
None that
some
I've been-
churches
none that I've
that
been to.
annually.
Right, and to Mandrell's case, there are some that do not share the information, but the majority of them do, because you can't have it's a huge. Okay, let me give you an example. The Friendship West Baptist Church here in Dallas. Freddie Haynes. I don't know if anybody may know him, but Frederick Douglass Haynes III is his name. And they at the church every year, everybody comes in and they put it up on two big screens on where the money is. They tell you how much they're paying the musicians. They tell you how much going to the kids. They tell you how much they're paying in people's mortgage, people's rent. They're telling you how much they're paying for kids to go to child care. Now they got their own child care center, so don't do that anymore. Because they allow some kids to even go there for free. Come on now. And then they tell you where the money's going as far as scholarships. They tell you who's there, who college tuition they're paying. I mean, they just put everything out.
Yep.
They itemize everything that the church does. And I think that's important, because you want to know where your money's going, right? If you're giving money to the church, you want to know. And I think a church that does that is a very responsible church, and it should continue to do that.
But that doesn't mean that that's where the money's actually going, isn't it?
But you see it though.
You see it though.
Right.
I can say this for me. My mother played that role. So she was the one that was calculating everything.
Let's get information man first. We inside, and then we'll come to you. Information man, welcome to the show, man. What do you got? What are your thoughts? Are you a tither? And if so or not, whatever your opinion is about it, how do you feel about tithing, sir?
Well, the problem that I have with organized religion is that we're focused on monetary value, money that was created by humans. I don't know what money has to do with God when it's a human currency that people put value on when people used to trade with animals. So I just think it's an individual belief. If you want to invest in a church or invest in your church, then you should do so. But I don't think people should be shamed for not having the money to support their church economically. I have a big problem when the preacher is living good, dressing good, driving good, better than his congregation, when he's supposed to be the leader of his flock. And the last time I checked, Jesus didn't walk the earth driving fancy carriages and walk around with golden sandals. He was a poor man, and he dealt with the poor in the streets. And I don't believe that a belief in God is to be only in the four walls of a church. Certainly Jesus didn't walk the earth preaching in a church, staying inside somewhere. He was outside. And I do have a problem with these prosperity gospel preachers. I don't think the preachers are doing the things that they should be doing that they were doing in the past. Too many people want money. And we keep telling us that money is the root of all evil. Don't they say that? But yet there's all this focus on money. So I just think that we're placing our value in our belief in God in the very thing that the Bible speaks against. So we are sort of hypocritical. I mean, yes, you want to support your church, but the preacher or the pastor that you're following, you shouldn't be supporting him to have a high value lifestyle. And if Jesus was to come, I'll leave with this statement here. If Jesus was to come back from 2,000 years, do you think he would be hanging out with some of these preachers that we got in the black church today? No, he would be out in the streets with the people who need him the most, not in a big mega church. There was nothing. Anyway, I'll stop there.
Right. And I will say this, if I'm going to respond to what something he said. He said that the church says that the love of money is the root of all evil in this hypocrisy. And so, but it's one word in there that we left. It says for the love of money.
Money.
Right. Yes. So meaning that, everybody that's greedy, everybody that wants to, give me the money. those people. But on the flip side of that, I can say being a part of, like I said again, there are some
Mhm.
horrible churches out there. Oh God Almighty! But there are some churches out there that their pastors don't get no recognition. They don't want it. Right? There's some pastors out here that don't even accept a salary.
Right. Can I just say this one, just one thing right here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because and I'm glad that you said that, brother. There are pastors and preachers who are doing the real work. They're out there. They're walking over glass and walking past piss and trying to really help people.
Right.
But they don't get, like you said, they get no recognition, and they're not asking you to give them money to build a mega church or to fly a jet plane. Why don't we identify within our communities legitimate preachers who are doing the work, who clearly need our help and economic support, and give them our money when we can see what they're doing other than their Bruce Brothers suit?
Right.
Yeah,
I agree. Because there are some pastors we talked about this. There are some pastors like Creflo Dollar. Right, I need this jet. It's called $65 million. I need y'all to raise the money.
I already got Black Man. He already has one. But
hold on. Let me say this right quick. Right, according to blackeconomics.com, from 1980 to 2019, the black churches received $450 billion. And
I remember that.
2006, black churches in America alone received $17 billion in tithing. Also, they received another $350 billion in tax-free offerings. Black boys cannot read at their level. Where is the black infrastructure that the church could be having? Where is the jobs for convicts, for men and women that get out of jail to get reintegrated back into society, right? From 1980 to 2019, that is a little bit over $800 billion in the black community. So from a financial perspective, the black church, because I don't have a problem with the black church getting the money. The problem is, what is the black church doing to make the community better? We don't have jobs. Well, $800 billion can go to that. We don't have infrastructure. Well, $800 billion can go to that. Black people live in a food desert for obesity. Well, $800 billion can go to that. Kids going to college. Well, $800 billion can go to that. Black boys are not reading at a grade school level, at their grade level. Well, $800 billion can go to that too, in the church, right? The church is financially devastating the black community. It's devastating it. And that's where I have the problem at. Right?
Amen.
It is devastating because if we are about our people, if we care about our people, and we are about the love of God, which tithing was for the community, then why isn't that money going to the black infrastructure? And that's where it is a sin. And I'll close with that. It's absolutely.
You're absolutely right.
That's not the reality for everybody, though.
Here's the thing. What he's saying, Genesis.
Please don't believe that. Please don't, because I'm talking about the macro level, not the individual.
He has a point. He has a point.
When we do the individual, it really circumvents the larger problem that all of us have to deal with, right? So I'm not talking about your church. If your church is doing what they're supposed to do, good, great, fantastic. Then I have no smoke for it. But if $800 billion is what all churches are getting combined, and in 1 year they're making $17 billion, then we have a problem that we need to address on the macro level. Because when we talk about our individual points, right, we are dismissing it altogether, and that's why we can't grow. That's why we can't push forward, right? So I have no smoke for your churches or any churches that's doing the right thing. But we can see if $17 billion is not going into black infrastructure, not being reinvested into our children, then we have a problem. And I think we all can agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing. My only concern with churches having a unified front and actually developing infrastructure for the black community as a whole, the dream would be to scale it to a nationwide level, right? However, anything that big, you're going to have corruption. So it's going to need to be policed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It somehow, some way, it's going to need to be the oversight is going to be needed for something that big. And how you do that, I don't know, because when it comes to the church, Government can't get involved. You can't get the city, the state, federal government involved at all. You know, they cannot, in my opinion, they should not be allowed to touch it. You know, you all know I don't have a very fond opinion or point of view on the church as a whole. You know what I mean? And the statistics that you laid out, the financials, this is one of the big reasons why.
And the links are in the chat. The links are in the chat for everybody who wants to check it. I already put it in the chat.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jedi Mike.
No, Robbie, go ahead, Robbie.
This is the thing, though. Like, it's very concerning to We Ain't Signing's point that all this money is coming in church, but we're not having classes teaching our people how to invest their money, how to build up their credits, breaking generational curses, and having a better understanding of wealth, politics, and power. Now, even though there is a separation of church and state, most churches have pastors that you could see at the club, or you could see come creeping out of, Keisha and them house down to the midnight hour, the deacons too. And I mean, let's not leave out the deaconesses as well. It's a lot of foolishness that goes on in these churches. So what are we paying for? Because I shout out to the churches that give full, explanations and detailed accounting of what they do with the money. But for those that don't are the ones that are in the most impoverished neighborhoods. What I found, my experience has been that churches in affluent neighborhoods whose congregation is a touch more affluent, they know they cannot operate in a manner in which they're not transparent with their congregation. In churches that are located in more urban areas, they know that the congregation is not necessarily as savvy, so the need for transparent accounting seems to be minimized.
Yeah.
And I'll close there.
No, it's on your point, Robbie, because my mother was an accountant for the ministry before my father became a pastor, and we had our own ministry separate from that. It was actually a conspiracy about that because one thing that she just kind of confused is that we're missing all these funds. About one, we have building fund, then we had this it's called a care act fund that anybody that either was struggling with rent or anything, we always had something that we would give something to them, but we were lacking. We had like a certain minimum we want to have every month in that account, so we have enough sufficient funds to provide for people in the community. But the problem is that over time she was checking that some of the money was not adding up because we're running in short, and yet we're not spending anything on this, and yet we're wondering what's going on. We found out that it was actually the pastor that was storing the money out there for something else. And then my father, who was an elder of that ministry, along with another deacon, we basically called him out on it, and that's basically led to the demise of that ministry. And the point onto the what you were talking about to you, Mandrell, is that I was experiencing this as a child, so I have every right to say, like, I mean, and the person in the best position will screw, the church, screw organized religion or anything like that. I can understand your perspective. But from someone on that my family, we came from the bright side of that we try to make sure that we experience that trauma, making sure we're not able to repeat that. Because again, we have this no snitch mentality in the Black community, even within the church. The fact that we're not calling out and holding people accountable. But if I may, like, to anybody, not only to Mandro, anybody in the chat, kind of experiencing the, for us as a church, not basically becoming biblical hypocrites, I want to offer you guys a sincere apology, because we shouldn't be above accountability, and especially that of us to be being called to basically be people of grace. Unfortunately, we basically become a bunch of false prophets, or i.e. a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? And for me as a child, I saw a bunch of that, and it messed with me for a little time in my world. I was like around 7 to 12 years old, because it made me question, just like, okay, where do I put my faith into if it's being extorted? Where sometimes my parents, like when I was younger, we didn't have enough money to pay rent sometimes, but eventually, like, we saw that we kept serving the ministry because we were told psychologically, hey, we have to serve. Like, if the pastor needs something, we need something, we would treat him with respect. But if to a point the congregation is suffering in that, and I think I call especially Black people to be better and not to be staying silent in this.
Now, let me say this before anybody else jumps in. Now, I'm not going to sit here. I'm with Jedi Mike on this. High five to Jedi Mike, because in everything there's always something that does what it's supposed to do. If you got 800,000 churches, out of those 800,000 churches, you're going to have some churches moving in the wrong direction. You're going to have some preachers impregnating women in the church. You're going to have the church stealing money, right? Joel Osteen, you think somebody didn't know that they found $250,000 in the wall when they're doing plumbing work?
In the walls?
Somebody plastered $250,000 of the offering money in the damn wall. And the plumber went in there doing the plumbing work and the bag fell out. I don't know why the plumber went told him.
But man, he gets up on that TV every Sunday with that shit-eating grin on his face.
Yeah,
all day long. Hi, the Lord's gonna save your souls. All you have to do is show up. He is a fantastic motivational speaker.
And I want to
put he is not a man of faith.
We're gonna get to false prophets in a minute. JD Mike, I know
he's a false.
I'm about to get please let me
we'll get into that in a minute. I want to get everybody's perspective
on his face.
So when it comes to we're seeing where the money's going.
Y'all
right,
still watching too. Y'all still gonna watch it.
Right. Seeing where the money's going. Is the church thriving? What is your mind? The question is, what is your mindset for the churches you do see thriving, where they're having college students getting their education paid for? They're giving back to the community. What are your thoughts on those pastors and those churches? Do you think there's still room for the pastor to manipulate, or do you think those churches are honestly doing what they're supposed to do? We'll start with Genesis, the book of Genesis first.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my bad, Jedi. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
I think some of those churches are those ones who are operating the way that they should. They're doing good things. And I think that many times we hold Christians to a standard that is unrealistic. Church is a hospital. Everybody there isn't perfect. And for that reason, you find flawed individuals or misappropriation in churches and things like that. But I think that there are moves in the right direction, and some of those preachers who are actually doing the work are being leaders who are having influence on some of the others who may be trying to find their footing as far as growing their ministries. And, with time, I think it will get better. I'm hopeful, at least.
Well, I'll go to Chaotic Truth. Chaotic Truth, what are your thoughts on the churches that you do see the fruit of their labor?
Well, to be completely honest with you, I would like to answer the question, but I would like to go back to, something my dear fraternity brother said, Information Man, and then tie that in with.
Absolutely.
Okay. So Information Man said money is the root of all evil, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
From my observation, the best countries on the planet, the wealthiest countries, have obviously the one that we all live in, which is America, and other Western countries are very wealthy. You have all the opportunity possible. And the more money people make, the higher standard of living, the better infrastructure, etc. So if Creflo Dollar wants to, in my opinion, fly on a jet, so be it. If his congregation is successful enough in their own individual rights, obviously he has high-level parishioners.
He does.
So he may have doctors and all types of people who have the money. So if they're donating $1 million a year, why not? Why not add to what is providing for your safety and security, which is the very country that you live in? Now, I'm not really spiritual, but if assuming the Abrahamic God, let's talk about the Abrahamic God. If he created the universe, or if it created the universe is infinite, right? So there's an infinite amount of resources. If you could just theorize that. So if there's an infinite amount of resources, wouldn't that suggest that we should try to acquire to have an infinite amount of resources? So why not try to work as hard as possible to provide for your church? And what's so wrong with the church having millions, if not billions of dollars? I don't see anything wrong with the Creflo dollars or anything like that. I think that they are contributing to the greatest system ever, which is the capitalistic system in America and in other Western countries again. So why not? I mean, even on Sundays. I mean, I don't know where Creflo Dollar preaches that, but it looks like he's in a big stadium. Think about all the jobs that are created.
He's
Think
in
about,
Atlanta, and it's in like it's the place
okay.
looks like a shopping center, dude.
Okay, so
like one of those outdoor malls. It looks like one of those.
So if you really sit back and think about it, I mean, hell, think about the people that are driving. They buy gas, that fuels the economy. They go to restaurants afterwards, that fuels the economy. They're not going into these restaurants and nobody's serving them. To me, it's the more money, the more you give to the pastor, the better the society. And that's just my take on these churches. So I think the mega churches are the best churches. And to be completely honest with you, it's really not up for the church to fix the societal problems either. If people in the 21st century with all the technology and information available haven't figured out how to invest their money or things of that magnitude, shame on you. You live in the best country on the planet. That's pitiful. That's pitiful that these little boys, and mind you, I was a teacher. That's pitiful and shameful that these little boys don't know how to read, but they could damn sure rap a rap song because I was around them for years as a teacher. So, it's not 1814, in my opinion. It's 2022. We're in the future. And that's just my take on it.
Now, let me put this in there. I will say this as well, guys. What about this? Because we talk about this, and I'm gonna get you Jedi Mike. Jedi Mike is coming in after this. But let me say this, guys. What about the people that don't tithe at all? And it goes to back what Chaotic just said about the young women that bring their sons can't read. And I'm saying young women. I don't want to just put the women out on the island by themselves, but over 90% of the kids are with their mom if they're a single mom. Correct? Do we all agree on that on the panel? So they're with their mamas. And so if the kids cannot read, what about the women that do go to church and their kids can't read, but at the same time, the mom has not tied to the church or given anything to give back to her children, any other children. Her son can't read, but she has $200 braids in her head, $300 braids, or she has on night, you know what I'm saying? Like the money, they put the money somewhere else and not even put it into the kids. So how do you feel about that? But like I said, we'll get into that in a minute. I want everybody's perspective on the question at hand right now, but we do have to think about stuff like that. People just go for the glory and give the money to other things that's not going to help anybody. But Jedi Mike, go ahead with your thoughts, brother.
But yeah, there's several things I want to kind of tackle too. One, you talk about serving the community, which I agree with you. I don't want to use my term of anecdotal experiences, but I'm just having a shameless plug. But like my parents' ministry was Rising Star Ministry, Newport News, Virginia. We had a thing in summer school in the area where we had our church at. We talked about a whole thing with the literacy rate, especially on Black boys. And for me, my background is education. That's one of my job. I'm a STEM instructor at a company called STEM Excel, where I teach kids robotics and programming in the county of Fairfax. Where I came from when I was a kid was that I would help, if y'all remember this, I know I'm the youngest person on the panel, but they had summer reading assignments you always had prior to you going to the following school year in public school. So I made sure that for vacation Bible school, which I teach, along with that was going to the book that you were assigned, that you would be prepared that after when you were finished with the summer, you already had your reading assignment done prior to that school semester being started for people in public school. And I was teaching that. And the thing about that too, we would also have vocation Bible school, but along that we were proving the community and identifying that problem. But to the point, going to the whole thing with the what Chaotic was talking about with the terms of the supermarket and mega churches thing, which I've seen consistently, especially in a very predominant like white area, is like I can tell you this is that there's a show on HBO called Righteous Gemstones. Right. If you guys watch, I encourage you guys to watch it. It's a comedy, but it's really serious stuff for folks if you grew up in the church. And they had supermarket, they had T-shirts, they had brands, pillows, they had anointed oils, and they had the name of the pastor say the pastor has blessed his oil. But if you buy this for $2.99 cents, I'll make sure I give this to you, and outside of this, we'll give you a towel so you can wipe the sweat from the Holy Spirit. And it's this whole thing, right? To me, again, it going to a point when you start doing that branding mess, right? And you're talking about what's capitalist society. The scripture says we're supposed to live in the world, not be of it. Capitalism is of the world, not of Christ. So no, so I don't believe in that situation. You're saying, oh well, you're just taking advantage of the situation you're in. When you putting names and you're doing all this, like knowing oils and have name logo, all this stuff like this, to me again is you putting yourself as a false idol, which is idolatrous to the Lord, right? So the thing, if you're doing that, and then it goes back to you're distorting the kingdom, right? And that to me, and I saw this as a child that I just could not believe what I was seeing, because we thought this is what we thought we were supposed to do. They even do this in African countries as well. But I just, to me, I personally just like cannot just sit back and watch it saying, well, because understanding that we should enjoy the fruits of our labor, but being as one of the things of deadly sins, which is gluttony, us as people of Christ, we should not be hoarding our profits. Not any means necessary. You shouldn't be hoarding that stuff especially when people are in need, starving, etc., and especially when we are suffering in silence, because we like to again minister to the pockets, not minister to the issue. And especially if it's not the issue of money, there'll be some other issue, other spirit that be moving in the church.
Well, what you're talking about is a question of honest. It's not to be honest. To be fair, Mike, what you're talking about is not an issue of spirituality. It's a question of ethics, okay, and humanity as a whole. Like, I believe that if a church is going to exist, if the church can't afford it, they should start a nonprofit. You know what I mean? Because there are billions with a B, billions of unspent dollars every year, okay, that are just sitting there accumulating interest for the federal government, but they're supposed to go out for grants. They're waiting on people to apply for it. But these churches don't do that. They don't start nonprofits to help kids who are in high school reading at a 4th grade level. They don't help ex-cons get jobs. They don't even start businesses so that those ex-cons can have a job. These churches just do shit. They do nothing. By and large, not every solitary one. I'm sure your parents ran the church you're talking about. Kudos to them. My hat's off to them. They did the right thing and they deserve praise for it. But by and large, the church has failed.
Absolutely.
And, yeah. By and large,
absolutely.
So what I'm saying is, right. And so what I'm saying is, the defense you're putting up is going to be an uphill. It's admirable that you even spoke out tonight, in the fashion that you did, and much respect to you about that. But that's a very much so uphill battle.
Of course,
and it's not your fault. And the churches out there who are doing the right thing, it's not their fault either. It's just the image of the church and the image of the Christian faith as a whole. Like, even for me, I have I don't hate it, but if it were up to me, every Bible would be burned to ashes. Every church would be burned to the ground. I'll explain why. Anything. If you've ever seen slavery live in your face, you probably feel the same way. So I feel that anything that's ever been used to justify slavery should be destroyed. Any propaganda used or being
the Bible does not justify slavery.
Here's like I said, if anything, I know where you're going with this, Major. No, let him go. I'm not saying the Bible did justify it. It does tell the slaves to obey their masters and yada yada yada, but it doesn't flat out say that slavery is a good thing and it should be practiced. It does not say that. I'm with you.
So, all right,
hold on, but it was used to justify it. So I mean, that's so the thing is.
Well, then let me go.
Hold on, let me finish. That's my passion talking. Just so you guys have the full context. That's my passion talking because of my experience. You know what I'm saying? Of course, no one's going to do that. And if I saw people doing, if I saw a politician came out and advocated for that action, I'd vote against him because it's still people's right to believe what they want to believe. I'm going to defend your right to the death. Your right to believe what you believe to the death, regardless of how I feel about it.
Right now,
as long as you're not hurting anybody.
Now let's get Raw B in here. But before Raw B goes, I want to say this tag on to what you said, Mandrell. Yes, you said anything that justifies any type of slavery should be burned by your account. Now, I think that if you look at it that way, then we would have to take a walk to Washington D.C. and all documentation that's behind a glass should be gone. Washington D.C. should be a flat ground because all the statues, all the everything, the Constitution were all written by men who believed slavery was okay. All of them own them.
A Constitution should be. I fully believe the Constitution should be rewritten.
Right.
We should have a brand new, clean slate Constitution.
Exactly, but those men wrote those things and they believed in it.
Yeah, and they should not be idolized. They should not be recognized as heroes.
Right, but when we get into the military and we get into going into military, and nothing wrong with people going into the military, but I'm saying we get in there, we take an oath to a country, and you're a black man, take an oath to a country that a country didn't even love you, that said you were 3/5 a human being.
Yeah. But and that's why the Constitution should be rewritten.
Right. So you missed the point. You missed
no,
the point.
I get it. No, I don't miss the point.
Let me go to Robbie real quick. Let me go to Robbie.
But the thing is, it's still my country.
Go ahead, Robbie.
It's home. It's where I live. What am I gonna do?
So when God saved the Israelites
after how long?
From the Pharaoh.
After how long? Let her cook. After how long? What about the people who were born, lived a full life, and died?
When God released the Israelites from the Pharaoh, he said to them, if they did not follow his commandments and his edicts, he would bring them back into Egypt. That's what it says in your Bible. Now, when you look at the etymology of Egypt, it is from the Greek. It actually means into bondage and slavery. But that's just one point. Now, there was another point that I wanted to make. Jesus came and told the people to take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And we're going to further break that down. We're going to break down that take that leaven and the Pharisees. See, the scripture I just read you came from Matthew 16:6. But when we deal with the take, that comes from Luke 12:15. And he said unto them, take heed and beware of the covetousness. For a man's life consisteth not in the abundance of the things which he possesses. The leaven, Matthew 16:12. Then understood they how that he bade them not beware of the leaven of bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Exodus 12:15-19. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread, even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the seventh day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. Leviticus 2:11. No meat offering which ye shall bring unto the Lord shall be made with yet leaven, for ye shall burn no leaven nor any honey, and any offering of the Lord made by fire. Matthew 16:1. The Pharisees also with the Sadducees came and tempting desired him that he would show them a sign from heaven. See, this is the thing. When we get into the scripture, when we get into the word and we actually read that book from cover to cover, see, I also have read the Torah and the Quran. So there is a correlation in between the holy books that still remain on this land in their actual pure and physical form. What the church is today is not what Jesus said. As a matter of fact, in Revelations, Jesus told the people, do not worship me, for I am thy fellow servant. See, it's going to be a narrow path to get into heaven. The path that you're seeing everybody walk is wide, and they're going to wind up going into temptation and the hellfire. Now, people believe whatever they want to believe, but I tell you what people cannot deny in all sincerity is the Bible and the word of God. Because when you go to Egypt and you go to the Great Pyramids, you can still put your hand on the hieroglyphics that the stories tell in the Bible. When you go to the Wailing Wall, it still remains, even in the land where sandstorms are tantamount. When we go to Abraham's house, it still stands in its full origin. But I mean, I don't really like to, you know what I'm saying, break down the Bible, because I get everybody is not at the same place and they walk in faith to be fed spiritually. But I will tell you this: do not be fooled by wolves in sheep's clothing. Because again, in the Bible, it says, behold, I send you out as sheep amidst the wolves.
The wolves, yeah.
You know, there's this whole Peter Popoff prosperity ministry that goes around. So everybody thinks that it's all about the money. It's not about the money. Now, this is my own personal take from all the years that I've invested into the Word of God. And yes, my grandmother was a holiness minister, so I've been in the Word before I came out of womb. See, this is the devil's temptation on mankind. See, the devil is pulling the greatest trick of all. He wants you to believe that there is no God. He's going to use everything from the land to confuse you and conflate you so that your soul can be turned away from God. And for that, I would advise you to take a few moments and read into the book of Job, because Job went through the fire. Right down to the wire.
Yeah, he did. He did.
So can I reply? Can I reply?
Very familiar with.
Wait, Mendrell. I want to address something, because you, with all due respect, you're quite uneducated on the Bible. So first and foremost, when the Bible was talking about slaves obey your master, when you look at the concordance or the blue letter Bible, it talks about as if, like, so for example, when you go to work, right? It's written in Old English. So when you go to work, your manager is what they would call a master, and then you would be the apprentice or the quote unquote slave, right? So it's talking about a job relationship, because slavery, as we understand it, was considered a punishment. When you break the commandments, when you break the agreements, you will be sent into slavery, right? And that was considered punishment. The Bible doesn't condone nor says people should be subjected to that. Slavery is a curse. In the Bible,
in fact, tonight I said the Bible doesn't say that slavery is okay. I said the Bible was used to justify it.
Okay, fine. Then yes,
and it was.
And I can use the scripture, do not mix tribes to be racist.
What the Bible was used for and what the Bible said are two different things. The way you present it as if you're saying that, okay, the Bible says go have slaves, people, when it doesn't say that. Now, people use it. Yes, you're correct. People use it for that. But in your initial statement, when your initial statement was not that, let's keep it a buck.
Yes, it was. Now, I said anything used to justify it should be removed and burned to ashes.
But that was your later statement. But now moving forward,
I had to clarify it because I knew everybody was going to take it the wrong way or out of context. That's why I clarified it that way.
When we're talking about, let me finish my statement, please. When we're talking about, okay, what the churches, the good churches are doing and how we should recognize that, in my humble opinion, I don't think even the good churches are doing enough, because at the end of the day, they're making $17 billion a year in tithe and donations, and we don't see anything in the infrastructure and the communities that they serve. Right? When we look at it, Black women are 90% of Black women in the churches are single, not even married. They're Number two, we have an obesity problem in our community. No one is making cooking classes or teaching these young women how to cook for their families, or the boys how to cook to take care of themselves, right? Obesity is running rampant, right? They're not serving their communities, regardless if they're believers or not. They're not serving their communities. Black men are dying because of health issues around the age of 60 or 70s. And recently, Black men don't even outlive their mothers now. Right? Do you guys know that? Black men are not even outliving their mothers. So where is the the Black church with the finances? Because they have the finances to serve even their small community, 3 or 4 block radius. There's food deserts, right? So regardless of what kind of church it is, and even if they're doing good, they have failed the community that they're serving in. Respectfully, they have failed.
Now let me put something. And I hear what you're saying, and most of the churches are. But the pushback that I would have on that is the federal government on taxes per year makes $4.81 trillion a year. There should be no homeless people on the street. There should be no homeless soldiers coming home deleting themselves because they can't get mental help. There shouldn't be men that go and be in the military for 20 years and get out and got to worry about how they're going to pay their bills and got to go work at the damn grocery store. Got to go work at a man that serves in the military should not have to work again in his life.
There should be no college debt.
Because he's sacrificed. He shouldn't have college debt. He shouldn't be working. But the government says, we used you. We abused you. You went out and saw things that messed up your mind. You saw things, people shooting at you. You saw your friends get deleted in front of you. You saw what happened to children. But we want you to come home with a clear mind, go get a damn job at the grocery store, and go do it. And go do what we done with you. And it's a shame that these men are sitting on the side of the road with signs saying that I'll come work, I'll come build at your house. I'm an ex-Marine.
All right, this shit ain't fair, man.
But what I'm
So
saying
hold
is,
on. No, I have a response
That
to
ain't
that. Let me
fair.
finish.
This has got nothing to do with church, man.
Mandrell, let him finish.
But what I'm saying is $4.81 trillion were up to what you said the church is making. Now the church needs to be held accountable. I agree.
17 billion.
Yeah, 17 billion versus $4.81 trillion. The church should be held accountable. The church should be held accountable. But also, we're not holding accountable the people that we go and put their ticket in for and vote for every year. We're not holding them accountable. These kids are reading at an 8th grade. These kids, some daughters are 10 years old, reading at a 3rd grade.
Fourth grade level.
4th grade level, right? So
in high school.
Right. And so I'm in Dallas, Texas, and me being a part of the ministry at my church with the children, I see that the schools, and I researched this, and it just brings a tear to your eye, that some of these damn kids they're still using English books that have their mama's names in them. There's no reason for that. But hold on. One more thing and I'm done.
Okay.
They just built. Listen to me. They just in Texas alone. They just built a football stadium that was $73 million for boys to play high school football.
Right.
But right down the street, there's an urban area where a school where they can't even get mold out of the air conditioning. Kids are getting sick. Got to close the damn school down. Hey, what are we talking? Go ahead, man.
School don't bring in money.
Wait.
Please allow me to respond. Please allow me to respond.
Hey, I'm gonna just go down because I gotta be to work by 4 a.m. Peace.
I just want to respond to that. You're not going to get any discussion from the majority of us black folks talking about how the government has failed the black community. We're going to all agree to that. Majority of black people are going to agree to that.
Yeah.
So there's not a debate there, right? Because just because this person failed us doesn't mean other people also can't fail us. I would say both people are failing, right? That would be my pushback. Both people are failing. But the topic today is churches. But if we talk about the government, how it fails the black community, no one's going to really give you pushback on that because we grew up understanding that, right? But it's a difference between the government and how we came to this country as slaves, right? As opposed to our own, the black church, because the black church is our own. That has been historically the source of the black community power, regardless of believer or non-believer. Historically, that has been the source of our power. And that's why I hold the black church as egregious, right? Not only the black church, but that is why I hold them as egregious or in sin or in contempt or guilty, however you want to, whatever superlative you want to use to classify the black church, because you have no pushback. They're both guilty or they're both lacking.
Okay. So let me say this. This conversation has gotten a little bit far. And as a believer, I have to say how things are being handled in this moment, it's not right and exact. Those of you that are not believers, I can understand your frustration. I can understand why it is hard to believe. And I'm not going to tell you that you're right or you're wrong, because it is not for me to tell you what your path needs to be with your Savior, with your higher power, however you want to call it. What I will say is this. If you ever want to have a conversation, and I'm not talking about a conversation in front of cameras, I'm talking about a real conversation, you are free to email me and we can have these conversations, because I'll tell you some real truth about me. It took me 15 years to get to a place where I could be secure in my faith. It took a lot of study, a lot of travel, a lot of looking at a lot of different things in order for God to reveal different things to me. So I can see how people that are rooted in the faith, they'll sit there and they'll be, incensed by the fact that you don't believe in certain things or you feel a certain way. But I know what God said, and God said, be patient. I know when God went and got Mary Magdalene out of that prostitution, then he sat there for days on end, surrounded by sin and iniquity. God did, in order to retrieve her soul. So
why didn't he get the rest of them out?
It wasn't their time. See, this is the thing, and
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
say this.
Right.
I'm gonna say,
Leave the rest of them there to be prostitutes.
I'm gonna
But
say
save
this
one.
to you. I'm gonna say this to you, and this comes from extensive research and revelation. There's a lot of things we will never understand in this lifetime because it is not meant for us to. There are some things we're not going to understand until we are one with our maker and we're in our glorified mind. Now, you don't have to. I don't see it as a cop out because do you understand why air flows how it does? Do you understand how, you know what I'm saying, different things just spontaneously occur? Do you believe in creationism or the Big Bang Theory? If you believe in creationism, so you understand how the whole world developed from two people in the mud and sand, you understand
it
that,
didn't come
fully
from two people
understand
from
that.
the mud and sand.
So then you believe in the Big Bang Theory.
Well,
Which it makes more sense that everything comes from one atom. See, there's so many wonders in life that we're not meant to fully understand. And I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here to convince you either way. I'm just letting you know that there is someone here willing to dialogue with you about the situation because your soul means that much to me.
Absolutely. And we will dialogue about it, Robbie.
Shout out to Rob B right now.
And I will say
and
this.
We will dialogue about it, Robbie.
Robbie, thank you so much because even though you may not look at it that way, right now the way you're speaking is your ministry, right? Because you're in that. So, kudos to you. And to, like you said, my grandmother used to say that. That's why when you said that, I got a little chill over here on the shoulder because
I feel quiet.
My grandmother used to say that. She used to say everything ain't for understanding. And even right now, Mandrell cannot tell me how the damn pyramids was built. Hell, there are scientists right now they can't even tell you. Right now,
we do know how the pyramids were built.
No, sir, they don't know. They can't.
They do. That puzzle's been cracked, dude.
Listen, man, I had a world. There was a world-renowned guy that does construction that looked at those pyramids and said we cannot recreate how the perfection of these pyramids. We cannot do it.
Chaotic Truth, what are you doing?
Chaotic, I'm sorry.
I said it before.
Here we go. Here we go.
On saying it.
Here we go.
The pyramids ain't nothing but a pile of stones on top of each other. Them Negroes, all they did was pile some stones on top of each other and bury one Negro in there. Stop. That's nothing more impressive than the illustrious skyscrapers, the bridges, the dams that we have now. Everything we have now is a billion times better.
Oh,
and the thing is, they lined the walls. They lined the walls of the pyramids with
pyramid.
I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna get back on this subject. Now you can't say that because a hurricane can come right now, and all those buildings are flat. That pyramid been sitting there for 4,500 years.
But there's no hurricanes in Egypt though. So,
but there's sandstorms. Yeah. There's sandstorms that have wiped away the whole terrain.
Yeah, but anyway, Snuggles 668. Thank you for the $2 super chat. He said drop the link. Open up the floodgates. All right, that link is coming. Is coming soon. So
hurricanes in the desert.
So
let's get back to the whole thing of Tithe then.
So information, man. What are your thoughts? What do you got? What are you thinking over there? What are you pondering, my brother? After everything that you heard, you're muted, brother.
Think that I think we got to respect people's beliefs. I feel like if I'm confident about what I believe and my belief in God, then someone else's disbelief shouldn't shake me. Because if I'm strong in my belief, then no matter what another person says, I know the truth.
Right.
Now, should we spread the truth and try to convince or at least let people know, what God is about? I think, yes, we should, but I think we should not force our beliefs on the people. We seem to think that America was built as a Christian country, and that's actually false. Most of the so-called slave-owning founders, they were devil. If you do your research, some of them were devil worshippers. Some of them were actually Muslim, believed in Muslim practices. So we think because they put these Masonic symbols on the money where they say in God we trust and all this sort of stuff, which is a lot of masonry, we tend to think that America is a country built on Christian principles, and we forget that other people live here that have been here before us, and they did not necessarily have Christian beliefs. Matter of fact, you can make an argument that there's other religions that were practiced in the continent of Africa that predate what we call Christianity. And although I do believe in God, I do believe that there was a period in which there was a heavy doctrination of Christianity upon black people during slavery. And they gave us the Negro Bible, which was an edited Bible to make you think that you were supposed to stay a slave. And we hold on to the one Bible that we've been reading and been given to us all our lives, not realizing that we have not read all the Bible, because there's many books of it that have never been given to our eyeballs to see. So we kind of stay with the first one that was given to us. Let's just keep it 100% real. Everything that we know is based on what a person told us and what we read in a book, which are stories that we've been told are historical truth. And sometimes some people have a hard time resonating with that. And those of us who believe, because religion is not like science, where science is something that you prove it as fact against what? It's empirical evidence against reality. Religion is based in a faith and a feeling that you have that there is something higher than you. But at the end of the day, when I can look outside my window and see a moon and see that the stars are up there and the sun rises and I'm breathing breath in and out and I see birds and all these things that someone named, but we don't really know what all this shit is that's running around this earth. We don't even know if the sky that we call sky is really the sky. We really don't know, but we have a faith that we believe these things. And out of that faith, no one on this panel can tell me that there's not a higher power, because no humanoid could have created the things that we're breathing, the air, everything. That had to be something higher than power. And even if you believe in the Big Bang Theory, which from my point of view as a person who believes in African spirituality, the Big Bang Theory came out of what? The black hole. Black holes are made of melanin. Our bodies are made of melanin. If you do your understanding about what melanin is, everything on this earth cannot operate without melanin. We are dark matter. So when you say, well, how did the Big Bang happen? All of that, if you are a believer of God, all of that, the Big Bang and all of that is the power of God that created everything. So, and with that said, these preachers in the church, part of the reason why I think the church has lost its mission is the same reason why I think some black communities have lost their mission as well. And the brothers up here may not like what I'm going to say here. Just like you have some black men that are missing out of the black community, where you have now single sisters in the community, and now they're forced to raise young men to try to show them how to be a man when they can raise them, but they can't really show them how to be a man. Same thing for the church. Men have left the church. And now the church has been left to females, just as it has been in the community. And then just like in the community, it's left for what? When there's a void, there'll always be someone that will find a way. Now you have these pimpology preachers, these preachers who have a pimp mentality to them, who prey on the women in their congregation, just like Jamal Bryant. I know a lot about that guy.
Come on.
Okay. And they prey on the women, and the women look up to them, everything that they say, which is the same thing that slick dudes do in the community to women that they want to sleep with, just like some preachers will sleep with their congregation. And then men have left church because trying to use our logic, we can hear the hustle in the preacher. We look at how he dressed, the car that he's driving, and we begin to say, this dude ain't no different than a pimp on the street that I know. So I'm leaving the church. There's nothing in the church for me. So what happened is we abandoned the church. It's filled up with mostly women and older people who are trying to buy their way. I'm just keeping it real with y'all tonight. Older people who are trying to buy their way, are trying to pray their way into heaven for all the bullshit that they were doing when they were young. So now they're old and they think, I'm going to get into heaven because now I'm going to be religious. And so now the church is left with a void of young, strong men to lead the church in the right direction. When you look at when Dr. King and all those great men, my dear frat brother, Dr. Martin Luther King, and all those great brothers during the civil rights movement, that's when you had real men in the church leading us. But now we have a church that's void of that leadership. Not all churches, but some. And I think that the church is parallel to what's happening to our communities when you have some men, I emphasize some men, who are no longer in the community and if they're not in the community, they're not in the church. They don't care about the church anymore. And now you have a void. And then we're wondering why churches are not really doing anything for the community, mentoring the young men. They're not doing this and that because I'm sorry, brothers, when you have a lack of male structure, because as men, we stabilize shit. When there's a lack of male structure in anything in our community, you're going to have a breakdown. And then you open up the door for the pimp preachers to take advantage of our community out in there.
Now, I want to say something. Yeah, man, that's you were cooking. You were cooking gumbo, Doc. I want a bowl. Listen, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get Mr. Bennett in here as well.
Wait.
I'm going to say something. What? So I'm going to say something real quick.
He was okay.
Yeah, he was cooking. He was cooking.
Well, I mean, you don't know what I was gonna say, man.
No. I'm gonna say. I was gonna say. Well, you get on my damn nerves. I can't stand it. I love it.
Well, you don't. But I have something. I want to retort to what he said.
Right? Okay, go ahead with yours.
No. You go ahead.
Okay, so what I was gonna say was you are absolutely correct. I agree. When it comes to where you said the men have left the church, and a lot of men I've heard in these spaces say that they don't attend church because of the very thing you just said, the pandering. Right now, I just saw Jamal Bryant on Sunday. When you talk about that guy, come on. I just saw Jamal Bryant on Sunday get up in church and talk about the death of Kevin Samuels. And he said, and he took misinformation. That's all he needed to get the women up. He took misinformation. Let me tell you what he did. Let me tell you what he did. He got in front of the church, which is predominantly women, and he said to them, yeah, how are you going to talk about women over 35 don't have no value, but when you die, you have to do a GoFundMe. And I was like, what did he just say?
Yeah, you over 30.
Yeah, you ain't nothing. So now he's putting out there that Kevin Samuels
He apologized.
Now he had to back.
Let me just let you know something because I got family in Baltimore. I was born in Baltimore.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a couple of activists in Baltimore who he's not well respected in Baltimore because he has a habit of going to like activist movements and trying to jump his 2 cents in. And it was a couple of years ago. It was caught on video where they told him, "You're not wanted here, man. Get the hell out of here. We don't want you here. Yeah. You're not really for the people." So what I'm saying is that goes to what I'm saying. When black men, we can see a phony when we really see a phony, and we will drive you from our midst. And I don't want to come down on the women too heavily, but I wish some women in the church would see the phony. Just like I did a video on my brother on that preacher who married that 18-year-old. He's 69 years old. He was watching her when she was 14 and grooming her. This is what I'm talking about. And you wonder why young black men are saying, the hell, I'm getting out of here. I can still believe in God outside of these four walls because God is everywhere, not just in the four walls of a church.
A church, yeah.
Right.
Well, the thing is with that is that a lot of the problems that affect us outside of the church bled into the church, and whatever wound caused our issues to bleed inside the church. Because church is where we're supposed to bring our problems and leave them with God. Walk out of church feeling better about it and having better insight about how to fix the issues and navigate them on the outside, right? What happened is the church got infected and corrupted by it. And so the way women were treating men on the outside, they started treating us on the inside. And then the preacher didn't help. He's looking to get money in the church, so he preaches his sermons and tailors them to women. You know what I mean? The prosperity gospel, God's going to make it all right. It's okay if you mistakenly had a kid. You know what I mean? It's okay. God loves you anyway. Come up to the front row, ladies, single mothers, but you're not preaching families. You're not promoting families, and That's why you don't see black families in the black church. You know what I mean? Women were allowed to treat their men like any kind of way outside. Then they get in church. I mean, so men are only going to take so much. I ain't taking this in church too. You know what I mean? I got to deal with this at home. I got to go to church and deal with this. Nah. And then that causes more issues. I mean, it's a vicious cycle, and the church has done nothing to help it. By and large, the church is, and the thing is, the church has done it to it. It has no one to blame. The black church in particular has no one to blame but itself as an institution nationwide. Of course, like I said, not all of them. There are some good churches out there doing fantastic work. And those are churches that I would actually I have actually volunteered and helped those churches feed the poor and things like that. These are things that you guys don't know about me. So much as I talk about the church and religion and things like that, I do help where help is needed. You know what I'm saying? I'm there for the cause, you know, not the people. But when I see corruption, more often than not, when corruption's in, it's by the time you notice it's been in and it's too late to fix it. The best thing to do is to start over. That's why I said we do need a new constitution, because it was corrupted from day one. Anytime you leave in the constitution, okay, so you can't have slavery except in this case. Okay, you're already lost. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with the church. Like, you know, it got, by the time you notice the corruption, it's already done.
And let me put this out there for you real quick. There was a pastor, white guy. He got elected as the minister of this church. And what he did was he wanted to see the heart of the church. So what he did was he went and put some sour smelling stuff all over him, and he put on homeless clothes, like he had holes in his pants and his shirt and his jacket. And he let his little beard grow out. And he just, the Sunday before he was supposed to take over the church, and he walked into the church, and as soon as he got there, he was stopped by an usher. No, you can't worship here.
Oh, yeah.
You don't smell right. You look horrible. You're not going to run our people off. So he walked back out, came in through another door, and they did the same thing to him again. No, sir, you're not coming. So he started walking down the aisle, and they were trying to catch him, like, where are you going? He walked up to the church, took the jacket off, and said, I'm your new pastor. This changes immediately.
See, but that's because
I've seen that. I've seen that before.
That's because in the Bible, God has said, what you do to the least of men, you do to me.
Me, exactly.
Now, when it comes down to
Robbie, hold on. Hold that thought, Robbie. Hold that thought. Because I got unsolicited security boss in the house that gave us $10 super chat. Right? I want everybody to take a deep breath. Sir Hell, this is for you. I want everybody to take a deep breath while we get IHOP Ronnie in here for this $10 super chat for unsolicited security boss. All right, thank you, IHOP Running. So listen, guys. Go ahead, Robbie, and finish your thought.
Thank you. So also in 1 John 1:7, that's where we're going to start. It says, but if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another. And the blood of Jesus, his son, cleanses us from all sin. If we say we have no sin, we deceive ourselves. And the truth is not in us. If we confess our sin, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. If we say we have not sinned, we make him a liar and his word is not in us. The reason why I read that scripture is this. A lot of people think you're supposed to be telling 50 million people your sins. That is spiritually untrue. And my mother could tell you this. I've been one to always tell people every sleeping eye is not shut. And I've always gone, since I was a little child, into my closet and pray. You are supposed to go and pray in your closet. You are supposed to turn your mantle down. Every sin is not for mankind. It's for your relationship with God. It's for your personal edification. So when people have these thought processes about what it is to love God and worship God and what they have to do within the church, you're supposed to gather in his name. Matter of fact, us being here today, even with all the blasphemy, even with all the discord in the conversation, this is still gathering in his name for his edification, and trust and believe through all of this confusion and this chaos, one or two will be reached by his will and his way. I'm just saying, like, we have so many beliefs based upon what other people have told us. And to pound for pound, you say, how can you have a personal relationship with an impersonal God? Well, the fact remains is this: if I meet you in the street, we don't know one another. In order for us to become friends, we have to get to know each other. So many people are sheeps being led everywhere instead of taking a moment to build a personal relationship with God. You have to work on that on your own. And I'm telling you, I'm a living witness. It took me 15 years. I've been questioning the Bible since I was 14 years old. It took me a very long time to come to terms with God and for God to reveal a lot of things to me. And please don't misunderstand me. Every revelation did not come from the Bible. There was questions I had about the Holy Trinity. I got the answer about that somewhere you would not believe, in the Catholic Church, to be quite honest. I had some questions about the name of God. You know where I got the answer from that? From a rabbi. See, we use religion as this big wall to keep us all separated. But the reality is, religion, like race, is a social construct meant to keep us all divided and apart. Because when you really study world religion, world history, Information Man is correct. When they did that archaeological dig under Noah's Ark in Turkey on top of Mount Ararat, they found evidence of the Catalytic Society. And that's a whole other branch of religion that predates Christianity. And then Christianity occurred on the world. And if you look at the path of war that plagued Christianity to get the message through, how they took over Constantinople because it was the center point of all commerce in that moment in history, and that's how the word actually got spread amongst the lands, then you start to have a different perspective. But some of these conversations that we have, it's not fruit to God's ear. It's not praise. It's not worship. It's not an offering. Because all we're doing sometimes, we have to be careful when we're having these conversations, is we're pushing people further away from God. And I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not going to be responsible when I go up to my maker to be the one to be, remember when you had this conversation, you pushed this soul away. So you got to be careful. And this is to the believers on this panel. You got to be careful how you handle these unbelievers. Because the conversation you have with them today could be the conversation that hardens their heart from the Lord forever.
So
I want to get Genesis in real quick.
Can I make a statement?
Yeah, let's get Genesis first. Genesis, go ahead, baby. Then we ain't signing. And then Mr. Bennett.
Okay, cool.
You muted, baby. You muted.
I don't really know where to go with my comments. I've heard so much. But what comes to mind is, when we're having discussions about Black men versus Black women, then everybody says, well, focus on the Black men who are doing what they're supposed to do. Why don't we have that same mentality when it comes to the church and the conversation that we're having tonight? Why not focus on the ones who are actually doing the work? Highlight those churches, and then maybe there'll be a trickle down effect, and more churches might be influenced to mirror that.
Anybody want to?
All of these people that are complaining, if you are not part of the solution, then you are part of the problem. What is your individual work that is being done? When you're saying that the church is failing Black people, it's failing the community, then what are we as individuals doing to help the Black community or help those people that are in need? If we're not doing anything, then we're just sitting on YouTube on our soapboxes criticizing people who are actually doing work or attempting to do some work.
I could tell you what I'm doing, sister, because I could tell you what I'm doing, but I agree with you that we should highlight the churches that are doing the right thing. But I think as an overall institution, the church is sort of failing in some areas and aspects, because what's happening is that you have black women or you have black men who have organizations that are actually doing the work on the ground that the churches should be doing, but are not really doing. I know for myself, I've been involved in mentoring. I've been involved in, we have a program my frat knows in our organization called the Alpha Academy, and we do a heavy mentoring and following young youth from the time they're in school all the way up. We have a program where we work with the families, the men and the mothers to find out what issues they have going on with them in terms of raising their son. So in different parts of the country, we have these Alpha Academies where we're trying to work with the youth and get the youth connected to a black man or black woman who is in a profession, a position of profession that young child would want to be a part of and join. Then for many, many years, we've had a program called Project Alpha where we deal with teenage pregnancy from the male perspective, where we hold black young males accountable. If they get a young lady pregnant, this is what your responsibilities are. We do preach, using condoms and being abstinent, but we know that our kids are not going to always do that. So we have those sort of programs on the ground level. We have alumni chapters who have various programs and scholarship programs for our youth. We have tons of underground schools and chapters. I know for myself, when I lived in San Francisco, I used to work in a place called Sunnydale Housing Project area, right next to a place used to be called the Cow Palace, where the Warriors used to play. And I had some frat brothers when I was only 21. This is why we can't make excuses. I was only 21, didn't have no money in my pocket, and my frat brother lived in this, close to this community, and we adopted the community and started working with youth in that community. And as brothers graduated and got a little clout and money, we turned it into a boys and girls club. We have a program for youth coming in and out of the system, the prison system, trying to help them. And now the community runs this program to this very day. We didn't go into the community being preachy to gang members. The gang members realized what we were doing. They told everybody, don't mess with the alphas, let them do what they're doing. We carried ourselves in a certain style, in a certain leadership, in a certain way and fashion. So you got 100 black men. Many of us are members of 100 black men. So there's various organizations that black men have engaged themselves in outside of the church to try to solve some of our problems. And I think when you say, and I think because black men have seen the church as failing them, we have had to go and create something ourselves. But let me keep this real with you. Even in Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, we use various parables and words in our language that comes right out of the church. We use terms like light of the world because many of our founders were Christian, high and clergy, Egyptologists. We have many of our founders that were part of Masons. So a lot of our language has very much religious overtones to it when we're singing our poems and our chants. And you know what I'm talking about, frat. So I can only say from an anecdotal point of view, that is what I have done. I just made 33 years in a fraternity. In my years in a fraternity, and the brothers that I have walked with and I have locked arms with across this country, that's what I know that we are doing. And I know we're just one of many fraternal organizations that are out there doing the work. But however, like you said about the church, there's very little press about what black men and even black women are doing positively, because we always accentuate the negative.
I want to hop in and say,
first of all, before you hop in?
No, because I've been waiting patiently, and actually,
hold on, no, she didn't say nothing. You gotta let her respond.
But I was supposed, like, Black Man said, I go after Genesis, right? She went, and then I waited, and then Information Man went.
I wasn't done.
But when you were first done, okay, continue.
Information Man.
Yes, ma'am.
If you are a member of a fraternity, I'm sure there are fraternity brothers that you have across the country, probably in other countries. Why not as fraternity members who might also be believers, why not build partnerships with churches?
Okay.
There's strength in numbers.
I can answer that question to you. I can answer that question respectfully.
Go ahead.
We have many members of our fraternal organizations, whether it be Alpha, AKAs, Deltas, Phi Beta Sigma, Omega. We have many famous members that are actually pastors in churches in our organizations that we do partnership with their churches. So we may have, for example, Amos Brown is a member of my alumni chapter that's in San Francisco. He's well known. Third Baptist Church in San Francisco. Well, he's a member of my alumni chapter when I was coming out of college, right? We do many things in partnership with his church. And there's many other brothers that are pastors who we lock arms with and support what they're doing in their church. So got to remember, because there are hundreds and thousands of us that are members of these organizations. To be quite honest with you, my sister, if you do just do a little bit of research, it is our organizations that make up your Black history. Thurgood Marshall. I can go down the name of list of Black men who are responsible for even your churches.
I'm saying churches where your frat brothers are not these failing churches. Those are the ones I'm saying. Why not partner with the churches that you guys say are failing the Black community and provide some instruction and support for those so that they can make an impact?
I think what you're saying is a powerful, I think it's very powerful what you're saying. I do agree with you. We should seek out those churches that need help, that need a little bit lifting. I got to be honest. We do tend to look at, because we're about people will call us elitist, but we are about people that are very exceptional, right? So we do tend to want to lock arms with people who are actually doing the work versus people who ain't doing the work. So I would agree with you. We should seek out those churches, but this is the reality, my sister. Once again, as I said, whether we're part of an organization or not, as Black men, if we see a church or someone running a church who we've made effort to try to see, hey, can I help you? Can you do this? And they give us this sort of energy like, nah, I don't want y'all, nah. Then I'm not going to bump my head to work with someone who is clearly telling me they do not want to work with me. See, I believe in that the word unity, remember, the word unity really means to work with people of like-mindedness. So for some of us as Black people, we're not going to be able to work with every Black person, even when we attempt to say, can I assist you? It's just like Dr. Umar Johnson with this school. I've done stuff on him. Several people have offered to help this man, but he refused to take the help, and he's arrogant in this. Right? So therefore you learn that I can't work with this preacher who wants to build a school because he acts like a preacher in a sense with his cadence, right? So I realize I can't work with this individual, but I'll try to see who I can work out. I know I can work with Glide Memorial Church in San Francisco because I know he does the work working with homeless and things of that nature. And he's been doing it since I was probably a little kid.
So I want to add this if I could. So first, it's a little bit disingenuous because you're asking what the individual has done compared to what an institution is doing, right? So that's the first disconnect there. Secondly, majority of Black men have in some way, shape, or form have volunteered, donated, given their time, whatever, inside their community. Was it mentoring a young boy, coaching basketball teams, whatever. On a grassroots level, majority of Black men do have a heart for at least the kids. Right. So they have done something. I came up from a STEM college-bound program. After I graduated college, I gave back, and I have been donating financially ever since. I built the library in Mombasa, Kenya. Right. So if you talk to majority of Black men on some grassroots level has been doing something for the community or giving back in some shape, form, or fashion. Now the problem is that we are not an institution. The church is an institution. So when we're saying that the church is failing because they're failing the communities that they're serving, that the communities that they're inside. Right? Because we're seeing so many problems in the Black community that the church has the finances to address, has the financial funding to correct. And that is the difference, right? There's systemic issues that plague the Black community, and the churches have been the source historically for the Black community. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying this from a financial standpoint, not from a religious standpoint, and I'm saying this from a historical standpoint. Second, when we talk about Christianity, well, when we talk about the Bible is the oldest religion on the planet, right? There is no church that predates the churches in Ethiopia that are dug down in the ground. The Book of Gilgamesh, what secular history will tell you is the oldest religion, actually talks about the Israelites and actually talks about the Great Flood. So it's been around. And then if we talk about the true form of Hebrew, which is Hosha, which is spoken by Bantu languages in South Africa and the Congo, that is the oldest language in history. So we need to be careful when we're communicating this information, because in secular history will tell you that the oldest religion and the oldest language is Hebrew or the Torah. And I'll close with that.
Yeah, and like I said, Genesis, feeding the homeless and things like that, that's not the only thing I've done. Even with the church, I've tutored kids to read. You know what I'm saying? I've taught grown men who are completely illiterate their ABCs and taught them how to form words and read sentences. And you know what I'm saying? I taught people how to read. You know, I've worked with churches to help the community. It ain't for the church though, because again, by and large, as an institution, it's not much there. And when it comes to things like Information Man was saying, if they could get a budget for advertising, that will work wonders, because people don't know that these programs exist. To me, that's one of the largest issues out there. People just don't know about it. You know, there's things out there to help. There's just like there's different financial programs to help people start businesses, grants to start nonprofits. People just don't know about them. The government has money set aside, but it sits in an account and accumulates interest. The government takes the interest, and they don't tell anyone, because the fewer people they give the money out to, the more interest the government gets.
But brother, let me ask you a question, and everybody this can go for. Do you believe, at least on these YouTube streets, do you believe that our people really want knowledge and information that can empower them economically, politically, and socially? I'm going to tell you why. Because I've been grinding on these YouTube streets for a long time, and Raw B will tell you, I have done, when I do shows on my channel where I bring professional Black men and women on to talk about whether it be health, budgeting, whatever, those videos will get the lowest views. But if I do a video about, you know, all the stuff that's been going on right now, those videos will run the ladder with views, right? And I always say to myself, and I tell my audience too, I feel like, wow, why can't we get the same large audience when we're actually feeding you, not feeding you, we're providing you with information that is actually of value, that can actually, because think about it, when you look at a lot of people streaming, how much value do they really give you when you walk away that you can actually utilize? And sometimes on the YouTube streets, a lot of our people, some will come, but not the most that should come and get the information. And it's a sad commentary, brother, when you try to have it, when you do that, when you have a channel where you're providing information that helps people.
I got your answer too. Man. Well, number one, your answer is no. Okay, that's for one. Here's why. People, by and large, talking about the vast majority of people, don't want to do it. They just want shit to work. You know what I'm saying? And they want to take the path of least resistance. They don't want the struggle. They don't want the work. But what they don't know is through the struggle, through the hard work comes the greatest reward. All the lessons you've learned and skills you've developed through your trek up, you know what I mean? You come exponentially better than someone just giving you something. You know what I mean? So no, they don't. The answer to your question is no, they don't want it. And also they're gonna meet people, people who are different. Like for instance, my show tomorrow night is probably gonna be my highest viewed show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably to date. It's going to probably be my highest viewed show. But the ones I've done before now, they're all about something critical and needed. These are conversations that need to be had, and they're all different from everything that you see on YouTube. No one's talking about the stuff I talk about, really. You know what I mean? but I don't know what my views are. I don't even check. I just don't think people are watching. You know what I'm saying? Because with people who watch it live, that's usually your largest audience, and it's not that many people who watch. But tomorrow I'll probably get a big audience. But no, yeah, most people are sheep though. Most people are sheep though. That's why. You know what I'm saying? There are very few shepherds. There are a lot of people who think they're shepherds, but they're not. They don't even recognize a leader when they see one because it doesn't look the way they think it should.
So I'll say this. Even though the more educational content does not get as many views, the people that are meant to see it are supposed to see it, because the reality is it's going to take a select few, a select core group to start to truly affect change. The masses, you have to realize, I liken it to the Matrix. Everybody's not ready to be woken up. Some people are very comfortable, stable, and sustained in the state that they are in. They don't want anything different. So we got to keep pushing, and we got to, I call it the blitz. You got to do a little bit crazy. You got to throw some crazy at him, like, come look at the circus. Oh, you hear? Well, no, this is really what you need to be paying attention to. Like, you got to do that. You got to mix it all together in a hodgepodge and then like sneak people the truth. It's kind of like with your kids when you're giving them medicine. They hate it. It tastes disgusting. Gross. But you got to hide it like in some applesauce or behind some ice cream with a little bit of sugar or something so that they get it in. It's just, you got to edutain and act the fool. I don't know, clutch it, classy and ratchet. Like y'all see today, I could preach the word. I could really get out here, really start giving y'all fruit for days. But I understand in this platform and this level, like you got to do some ratchet and then dazzle, shock and awe, boom. Oh, but then
Black Man Unfiltered, may I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
About 30 years ago, a woman named Ava Muhammad, she was the first national speaker for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who was a woman. And she had a legendary speech. And her speech, and I gotta paraphrase it because I'm not gonna say it exactly verbatim because I can't remember it. But basically in her speech, she said, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan has been doing the work for the Black community for almost 50 years. And people are questioning certain assets that he has, his homes, the vehicles, the security, all this. And she said something, and I'll never forget it. She said, nobody questions the houses, the cars of the drug dealers in your community. Nobody questions the wealth of these rappers and these musicians and Black actors. Nobody questions that. People who don't do nothing for you. But for some reason, we question the wealth of a lot of these leaders. Now, whether or not some of these leaders deserve it or not, I stand by this and I keep saying it. Whether you have a storefront church or whether you have a mega church, for those 2 hours or 4 hours on that Sunday, you are doing the work of the Lord by maintaining a certain level of civility in this country. For those 2 or 4 hours, pretty much there's nothing going on. There's no crimes like that are skyrocketing because you are in those buildings. Now, I'm not spiritual, but I do respect the church. And if Creflo Dollar has a jet, I say his parishioners to buy him another jet. Just like how we buy all these NBA players jets, there are Black people who sit. I see them at the games. They sit front row, court-centered seats. They just be there smiling, and you pay thousands of dollars to watch an ape run up and down the damn court and put a ball in a basket. And that's
no. That's the essence of it. That's the essence of it.
No,
yeah.
No, come on now.
Stop. I beg your pardon.
Well,
That's the
no,
essence
we
of
are
it.
apes. Human
No,
beings
no,
are.
no, no, no,
I'm
no,
like
no,
Caesar
no.
from Planet of the Apes. What you talking about?
No, human beings.
Yeah, yo, no, this is Black Man. We were having a civil
No,
discussion, right?
sir, I have
So,
not
bro,
spoken
come
for
on, you're more
30.
educated than this.
I
You can
have
do
not
better than
spoken
this.
for 30 minutes, sir.
But
And
you
sir,
can't
I
articulate
have
your
not
words
spoken for
better
30
than
minutes.
Let him
I
have
did
it.
not.
We ain't
Let
saying.
him
Hold on,
have
y'all.
it.
Hold on,
Black
guys.
Man
Hold on, guys.
Unfiltered.
No,
I did not cut
bro,
it.
you can't sit up here and let this
I
man
did
call
not
Black Man
talk
ape.
for
Hey,
30
listen.
minutes.
Hey, okay, listen. You can't. What we're gonna do is this. You can't call black people apes.
No,
Because
all human beings are apes. They're
he,
black. They're
he,
white who play in the NBA. All human beings are great apes. You could. It's scientific.
It's called Homo sapiens, not
We are
Homo
primates.
sapiens.
We are primates.
We are
He's
primates.
actually
We
right
are
about
a
that.
part of the great ape family.
How
We
are
are
you
almost.
justifying this shit?
Go look it up. You're Jedi. You're smart. We are according to
Well, thank
science.
you. I
We are
know.
all.
okay, finish your point. Finish your
I
point.
didn't talk for 30 minutes. Can I talk, please? No.
Finish your point. Go ahead.
The fact of the matter is that again, we should never question the wealth of a Creflo Dollar or a storefront pimp preacher. Because again, they are doing more for the community than these gang banging rappers
All right,
and
take
these
care, guys.
whores.
Salute, Dr. Bennett, Black Man. Goodbye. All right, bye.
Later, we ain't signing.
Yeah, get the hell out of here. Because I hadn't spoke for 30 minutes. I was listening to that dude yapping off at the mouth behind an avatar. Now, all I'm saying is that again, whether you are a storefront pimp preacher or you're Creflo Dollar, I support you. And if you happen to listen to this, look, man, you should have 1,000 mansions. You should have 1,000 yachts because we give it to these gangbangers. We give it to these whores called rappers, Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion. Yeah, we give all our money to, I don't give my money to them because I don't listen to them. But we give our money to these drill rappers. So let's give it to these people who actually are trying to preach the word of God. And on that note, I'm going to be quiet for another 30 minutes and not interrupt anybody. Go ahead.
Mr. Bennett, you want to respond to that?
Well, I think he has a. Make sure I'm not muted here.
No, you can hear you.
Okay. Well, I think it goes back to one of my original points I made, and I said that I think it's dangerous when we get into again how people spend their money. Because again, we can be very self-righteous in terms of how people spend, but then we spend on other things, and then you bring your spending into judgment. So to a point, I can kind of see what our brother Chaotic is saying about how people what people do with their bag is their business. My only thing is just again understand where you're spending or try to get a little bit of knowledge in terms of where it's going. So again, if someone in the church is getting back to the original topic, if someone's going to talk to you about tithing, one question we don't ask is what tithe are you talking about? Because there were actually 3 of them. And if you add it up as a percentage, it's about everyone talks about 10%. It was really 23 1/3% because one of the tithes was supposed to be given every 3 years, and that one was mostly meant for the poor and the needy. So we don't have an education. So my thing is again, if we would just educate people again on what that system was. One thing I did see in the comments that I thought was correct: tithing was not money, and it was not everything. It was basically the produce of the land and some of the animals that were on the land. It wasn't if you wanted to give money, you actually had to give more. Because Leviticus 27:31 says if you want to keep your tithes, you had to pay an extra fifth to it. So it's really 12%, not 10%. Again, nobody ever talks about that.
Nobody.
And so again, this is about what's been shared here. This is about education. People need to be educated so they can make an educated decision. And if you still decide that, again, whatever institution that you want to give to, whether you want to give to these YouTube streets, to a church, to a charity, to the Alphas, shout out to Information Man, because there was actually a question I was going to have for you, and I think you answered a lot of it for me. I salute you in the work that you're doing through your organization. But so wherever you decide to spend your money, you go into it with the information. So I think that's still what's missing from this conversation. I think there's a lack of biblical literacy that is creeped up. The other thing I want to talk about is in regards to the issue at hand, we're really talking about something in the last 50, 60 years. I think Information Man talked about it. I mean, back in the 60s when you had MLK and these guys, that's where the black church was. And then we sort of took a turn and we started following a lot of this prosperity gospel. So we're talking about something that's fairly recent. So and with that, you also have, and this is one thing I will raise this as a question. It's not a criticism, as a question. Information man, you did say that black men left the church, but we have to ask ourselves, was that a mistake? Because again, the church is our major institution, and I agree that a lot of men left the church and they formed institutions. You worked to the office and whatnot, but should have men have stood their ground and said, again, if we saw the pimp in the church when we saw him, should we have chased the pimp out? And
I would
stood
have
our
to say
ground
to
there
you
in those areas. But again,
Yeah.
salute to what you're doing. I don't disagree, but I'm still pondering the question: should we have left? Should we have stood our ground? And should we have defended? Because now you left the wolf basically to the sheep in the church, the women and everyone else. And so, was that a mistake in our community that we did that?
I would say just shortly, because I know other folks want to speak, that I think it was a mistake that we should have not prematurely left to let the sheeps take over. I think sometimes wolves, I think as men, sorry about that. Right. As men, I think we need to sometimes, just make, we react. We got to be more, not reactors, but more responders and assess the situation a little bit better. So I agree with you. But I just want to make this one point to my brother Chaotic on the panel. This is the difference between celebrities and athletes. The difference is that preachers or clergymen, they present themselves to us in the black community as leaders, people that are leading us somewhere spiritually, emotionally, the whole nine yard, that they're leading us to something better, and that they have expectations for our behaviors, and we have expectations for their behaviors because they're using religion to tell us how God wants us to be. But the difference is that athletes and entertainers, whether it be Cardi B or whoever, they're already telling you what they are. They're telling you that they're about entertaining and about making it wet and gushy, and they're dancing and all that. So I don't think psychologically we as a black community see those people as leaders. We see them just for what they are, entertainers, people that we want to inspire. We want to aspire to be like them because we want to get that. We want the money that they have. We want the lifestyle that they're living. We may not want to be like them, but we aspire to the lifestyle. So that's where I differ with you, brother, that why you may not see black people criticizing in the same way, because they don't present themselves as our leaders. You just said yourself that people are paying lots of money to see grown men go up and down a court and put a ball in a hole. I don't see them as leaders. Therefore, I don't have an expectations about how much money they make. They already tell us how much money they make. We see their contracts. We know they're athletes, so we're conditioned to that already. But the preacher, for all our lives since we were kids growing up and our parents before us, we were told that the preacher in the church was the foundation of the black community. So we expect more, and that's why we judge them more, my brother.
And let me say this to Chaotic.
Have mercy.
True.
All right, and then we'll get Lucky in here because she got.
Yes, I apologize, baby. I apologize. It's gonna be quick. I promise. Chaotic Truth. You were making a really brilliant point, and people were really hearing you. And then you went and tarnished the point that you were making by calling people apes. And I get why you do what you do, because you're definitely one of those that like to shock and awe. I get you. I see you. But I just want you to know some of the points that you make are really, really valid, and they would go further if you maybe exercise restraint where you utilize that shock and awe. Just a note.
Raw B, thank you very much for that observation. But I would like to point out, according to science, according to biology, we share.
I'm not doing it with you. I am not doing it with you.
9.999% DNA with chimpanzees. Think about that for a minute. We are a part of the great ape family. We're not bonobos. We're not gorillas. We're not what's the other one? Chimpanzees. But we are a part of that family. We are. We kind of look like them too. Now, I'm talking about all humans. So if I'm wrong, that means all the evolutionary biologists, all the biologists, all the people in academia.
I don't look like no damn ape.
Okay, so
you are
We're
really
not
pulling
arguing
it.
evolution here. You can
No,
look
no,
like
no.
whatever you want to look like.
You
I don't care.
are
Whatever. This is
you are
biology. I don't care. I
mm-mm,
don't care.
mm-mm,
Look, that's what I believe.
So
I
we got
believe
you know, you ever heard that you too smart for your own good?
I
You too smart
believe
for
we're
your own
all
good.
apes.
You
You
is
guys
arguing the
believe whatever
point.
you want to
You is
believe.
arguing the point based on
I
critical
don't care.
definition.
I
And
believe I'm an ape. Whatever y'all believe, I'm going on mute.
Well,
I don't
okay, we get the reference. I know the reference, but that's not
Right.
what you said.
So yeah, let's get Lucky in here. Lucky, welcome to the show tonight, baby. How you doing?
Hey, Lucky.
What you got for us tonight, Look?
I just wanted to answer. Tithing itself is not a scam, but today it definitely is a scam because it was supposed to be money used for the needy and the people less fortunate. And right now, we can't go to the church if we're in need or anything. They can't help us. Right now, they're using the money to buy them jets, Mercedes Benz, things like that. So I would say today's church is definitely a scam because you have the only people prospering are the people on the pulpit, not so much the people in the congregation. So it definitely is a scam.
Did you watch the show earlier?
I don't need to. I'm answering the question.
No, that's not what I asked you. I just asked you to watch the show earlier.
I was on another live, so no.
Okay, I'm just saying I encourage you to watch the show because we all come from a different perspective just to give you facts on the answer. But yeah, that was all.
No, I get it. I love y'all over here. I'm just here to answer it, and like I'm a little frustrated that you just called us 8.
I feel you.
All right, thank you, Lucky. Anybody want to respond to anything Lucky said before?
And I'm gonna be on. I seen your little podcast because I finally got to meet you. So nice to meet you.
Shout out.
All right, thank you, Lucky. All right, man. So I seen your podcast, man. Welcome to the show for the first time, brother.
Thank you, bro. What's going on?
Glad to have you on, man. Go ahead and do your
podcast. Yeah.
What's going on?
Good
man?
to see you over here in my neck of the woods for a change.
That's right, Manny. Salute, man. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, what's going on? What you got for us?
Yeah, I just got off work and I just tuned in to Jedi, just to let you know. So I only seen a little bit, like the last 10 or 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But just to answer the question though, it's difficult, right? I never believed in tithe and offering, right? But my mom's, who's a minister, of course, she always did. But recently, a few years ago, she made me aware that you're able to write off your tithes and offering, right? With taxes.
Right.
So I did kind of see a benefit of that, you know what I'm saying? Even though basically you're just saving your own money by doing that, but it's still to a benefit. But I remember a few years back, I watched some documentary where they were talking about the church, and they were saying how if the church was really there to benefit the neighborhood and the communities with all the money that they take in, they would pretty much be the bank of the community, right? When people want to buy houses, then the church could supply them with, down payments and stuff like that. People wanted to get into real estate, start businesses, they could fund it because they take in all of this money. So if they was really being a benefit to the community, it would be a lot more than Jesus and Holy Spirits and, people living in well mouths for 3 days and burning bushes and all of that, right? Because we know in the real world, in the physical, take money to make things move out here. But at the same time, I will say that I had to learn, because in college I took philosophy of religion, and it kind of opened up my mind to some things. Then I did a lot of research about stuff. And so, of course, I immediately started attacking, and I'm using the word attacking loosely, but I started attacking the people that I knew, right, that believed in this religion that I could see all the holes in. And I became very uncomfortable for people. But I had to realize that I was wrong, right? I had to allow people to believe what they needed to believe in order for them to deal with life.
Shouldn't they respect your beliefs too?
Say that again?
That door swings both ways. They should respect your beliefs as well. Like for me,
true.
Let him finish, just because I got to bring some other people up. But go ahead.
So don't feel bad. You weren't wrong.
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely. You're right. The door swings both ways. But it's like this. My mom is a deep believer. She gives all the credit in the world, everything to Jesus and God and all of that, right? And then I'm kind of like pressuring her to try to see it another way. But at the same time, but the fact that she always believes that everything's gonna work out, it typically does. And so I had to learn to not try to take that away from her and allow people to believe in whatever they needed to believe in order for them to survive this thing we call life, because we all know it's tough out here. And honestly, that includes tithing. So if you believe that tithing is a benefit to you or your community or your relationship with God or whatever you believe, then I'm gonna allow you to have that, and I won't try to attack you from it, but I will offer my opinion on it if asked.
Respect. Well, I appreciate you. I seen your little podcast, man. Thank you for your perspective, man. Please don't let this be your last time being over here, man.
Not at all.
Yeah, and tomorrow night you can
Yeah,
come in.
good, man. Good having you, man. Thank you for coming.
And also, podcast, if I may, before you leave, yeah, be patient with people if your beliefs are very different. Because since I had and it's been many, many years since I had my spiritual awakening, right, and established my true connection, one-on-one personal connection with God, right, many, many years, and all that time, in over a decade, I've only met one person who honestly got it, who honestly understood me. And this is very recently I met this person.
Yeah.
So you have to be patient with the masses, and understand that they've been indoctrinated and they've been taught to believe that things are one way their whole life, and they just never shook it. They think they have a personal relationship with God, but they really don't. If they did, they leave you leeway to believe what you believe and respect yours, as opposed to you coming with a different opinion and they just say you're wrong.
Right.
And make you feel bad about it. So just be patient with people.
All right, thank you so much. I seen your little podcast, man. We're here on Friday nights as well, bro. If you want to come back for Barbershop Talk on Friday at 8:30, same time. Mantrell show is tomorrow. You want to come support him, 8:30 Central Standard Time as well, on the Unapologetic with Mandrell and Shushu. So
No
we'll
doubt.
see.
Real quick, salute to Raw B, salute to Dusto, Mandrell, BMU, Chaotic Genesis, Mr. Bennett, Jedi, and my man, I can't see your name. Salute to you too.
I'm gonna come back over there to Yellow Fight Club. I'm gonna turn it up again. You know what again?
All right, man. Appreciate you, bro.
No doubt, respect.
Absolutely, bro. All right, we got now the back is closed, guys, for tonight. We're about to end the show in a minute. I'm going to have Dusto come in, and then I'm going to bring in none other. He don't even supposed to be here tonight because nothing's religious about being a stripper. But we got Canadian born Bob, the big oil baby, here tonight. He's going to end us tonight. But Dusto, welcome to the show, man. How are you tonight, my brother?
It's good. How you doing?
All right, man.
It's
so
good. How you doing?
You're going to get your thoughts, and then everybody else on the panel, I'm going to get final thoughts from each one of you guys before we close out. But we'll get Dusto first, then Canadian born. Go ahead, Dusto.
Tithing. I used to tithe. A lot. Used to have to actually tithe that 10% multiple times. When I was a teenager, actually I tithed when I was 12, 13, all up until I was 18. Then I was tithing in the Army, then tithing off and on throughout college and when I graduated and when I lived in Houston. Most of the times when I tithed, the money, I somehow found out that the money was going somewhere that it wasn't supposed to. I remember specifically, I first had me a job. I'm making over 50 grand a year. I was about 30, 31 or something. And I'm going to actually tithe on my focus. But all I wanted to know was the money is going where they say it's going to go. One day the pastor got up there. I don't take the tithes offering, sir, and I don't put them in this. I show exactly where the money is going. Did all of that. Then I got a phone call when it was tax time. Hey, they sent me an envelope of where my money went. First, they didn't have it all. It's like, I know what I tithe. It wasn't this. It was way more than that. Then it was also, the money was going towards some other fund, which he preached and said it wasn't going. Then I was done with tithing. So like, you know what? Let me fund my own ministry, as in me, instead of these fake churches just doing what they want to do with the money. I trust me. But yeah, so I don't tithe no more.
Right. Anybody got anything they want to add to what he said, or any words of encouragement for this young man?
No, you have to have like I said, it's all what people really do miss. And here's what I found: it's less than a fraction of a percent of people in my estimation, who honestly get what a personal relationship with God looks like. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm telling you is hold on to, if you have one, hold on to that. If you don't have one, or you don't feel like you have one, develop one. Try to develop one. Leave the religion out of it.
Oh,
Because
me and
once you
God are
get,
cool. Me and Jesus are cool.
oh, okay. Well,
I'm
here's the
just
thing.
not giving away no money.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing,
I'm not
Scam.
giving up the money.
Gotcha. Here's the thing, Scam. If you have your personal relationship with God, that's all you need.
Yeah.
You don't need the rest. Now go out and do your job, which is, live.
But speaking of the job thing, I'm not even going into detail about it, but somehow, I never applied for it. I never signed up for it. And I also never seen it. There's this place called the Black Community. And somehow we're disappointed as these people who are supposed to go out there and save it. I haven't seen this contract and I haven't seen this community. So why don't I just tell the truth? What am I doing to go save and rescue the Black community?
No,
Nothing.
that's not up to you. You know what I'm saying? Well, that is actually, it's all up to you. But like I said, go out and do your job as a man of God. If that's helping the Black community, help the Black community. If it's not that, if it's something else completely different, go do that. And you won't know until you find it.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Do I help people? Yeah. Individuals? Yeah. Communicate, share resources, individuals? Yes. But this rescue the Black community thing, I can sit here and give you a fake speech, or I can just tell you the truth. There ain't no community. It's getting worse. Because what they consider this Black community, they have their leaders because they're following something, and those are people behind it, and they're actually money lingering around in there. So those leaders go ahead and manage what they're doing because that's what the community is. I'll just leave it at that.
All right, man. I appreciate you, brother. Then we're gonna end the show with Canadian-born Black David is in the building tonight.
Full force, get busy one time.
Yeah, full force is in the building, but he said that we need some strong representation of the African descent in here tonight, and so we're gonna let him bring the fire.
Okay, Black Man.
David. Now you know that the mods on you tonight. They say you got 4 minutes in the mods now. 4. So
I get it, Black Pim. Thank you very much. I didn't need my cut.
Show us how to do it in the Yoba tribe.
Come on.
Let me see. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Information Man, Robbie, Jedi Mike, and Paul. Y'all drop a lot of solid gem. I've been listening from start to finish. Information Man, what you just said correctly is on fact concerning men leaving the church. As the guy who used to serve in the church, I've seen the corruption of leadership. Where the problem comes to play, some church fundamentals are not set up whereby men can find a way to stand on their 2 feet and say we're not going to have this because, for one, when you have a so-called board of directive that manage the church and they're not on your side of what you believe would be right in the church, there's not much you can do. I myself was forced to leave a church that I saw the level of corruption. I grew up in a church home since the day I was born, and I see the shenanigans. I get it. Strong Black men will not want to wait another minute in the church, and they will walk out because they see that there's no hope of trying to change from the inside. You might well go outside and meet like-minded men and do something bigger on the outside. That is one issue. Concerning tithe and offering, I have done so much homework on that thing as a child. I understand tithe and offering is needed in the body of Christ, but it's not meant to richen the people in the pulpit. It was meant to help those who are in need in the community. Some churches does that, other churches don't. I get it. I understand it. My concern is this. You're right, the Black church has failed the community. The Black church was a solid foundation of authority figures whereby it helped to move the community. The problem is they failed us. Poppy and Gray, when I'm in this serious mode, I'm not in the mood. I'm in the deep advocate mode. I'm really pissed off. So like I'm trying to say is this. I had an issue with the church because for some reason, they don't build a strong leadership. You don't have strong Black men walking in the church. There are some churches that are doing that job. And I give them credit for that. Yet we don't acknowledge them because they're not mega churches. Last I checked, mega church is not the will of the Lord. That'll be another story altogether. All I'm just going to say is this. Chaotic, I get what you're trying to say. They give you a different between celebrity and clergyman. Clergymen are supposed to be spiritual leader who supposed to guide the community and lead it to the proper direction. So you can't expect the same thing where you have celebrity doing what clergymen are supposed to be doing. They be held in a different type of standard you hold a politician, which is I'm tired. I'm not gonna pay attention. I'm not even looking at the chat anyways. So what I'm trying to say is this: as black men, we can't rely on the church too much to do what it need to do. We find a solid church to be a part of, then be a part of it. I don't go to church in New York City for the fact I'm tired of the dumb leadership I'm seeing these days. People playing like pimp, and I see that. I understand that. That's why a lot of young generation don't come to the church. They're walking away from it. My problem is this: we have a problem. Only a few of us can only help and do, but you cannot do so much because only a few of us. We're not an organization. We're individual. These institutions need to be held accountable, and we hold our politicians accountable. The problem is when we have the type of nonsense that's been going on for far too long. Like Mandrell said, it's like a cancer. You can't do too much about it. You can either walk or go to someone that you make some effort. All I can say is this: do what you can in your community. Focus on what your passion is and what the purpose is. If you cannot change it, leave it alone. It will change itself one way or the other. Other than that, you just keep it moving, keep it trooping, and do what God tells you to do. That's all I can say. That's my piece.
All right, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. All right, so what I want to do now, Black David, I'll put you in the back for a second, and then we'll go ahead and get everybody's final thoughts. So we'll start out with Jedi Mike. Give me your final thoughts on tonight. Jedi, you still there? All right, we'll go to Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett,
I am.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Jedi.
Wait, you hear me get my last words or what?
Yeah. Final thoughts for tonight. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted. Amidst all the craziness that happened tonight, I do believe that I encourage people if they just stop by the live just now, tune into earlier, because I think we had a very good conversation coming from different perspectives, especially from our own experiences. Like again, I guess to anybody still, as I mentioned before, and I'll say it again, that as someone from the church and still in it, I want to offer people that have been affected by the church, from this issue we're talking about, tithe and offering, offer you guys an apology because we are becoming hypocrites. I'm not even much, I come from a point that my father and my mother are not and have not indulged in that any type of malicious behavior, but still, we still should be held accountable because at least if we're observant of it and yet we say nothing and still act like there's no difference. We're still at fault allowing this type of spirit that happened in the ministry. And I just kind of encourage people just to open their perspective, increasing self-awareness, especially between black men and black women when we're watching this issue, and then we're knowing that when we're being affected in situations of people pimping out the kingdom of Christ. I encourage black people to speak up and stand up. But yeah.
All right, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you, brother. That was Jedi Mike. Jedi Mike, thank you for being here, man. I'm gonna put you in the back, man. We'll see you in a little bit, brother. For us to have that discussion. Let's see here who we got next. We got Raw B. Raw B, final thoughts, sweetheart.
Okay, first of all, chaotic truth. You are very unruly. You're like the naughty kid in the classroom, but I think you're pretty smart on high key, but you play a lot. You silly. I'm gonna leave y'all with this final scripture. When it comes down to tithing, this is the most prolific parable in the Bible. It's the story of the widow's 2 mites. It's from Luke 21, 1-4. And he looked up and saw the rich putting their gifts into the treasury. And he saw also a certain poor widow putting in 2 mites. So he said, truly, I say to you that this poor widow has put in more than all. For all these out of their abundance have put in offerings for God. But she out of her poverty put in all the livelihood she had. That being said, you do what you want to do. You know, whatever you got going on in your life, if it's working for you, hey, be blessed and be great. But I know for me and mine, we serve the Lord, and we give tithes because it is always better to give than to receive. And I can tell you, I'm a living, breathing witness that the seed you sow will return unto you 10 times 10 times 10 again. Y'all be blessed. Fly free because it's a privilege. Good night.
All right, Robbie. Thank you so much, sweetheart. You're amazing. I appreciate your perspective, especially tonight, man. You really went down in it. You making me want to have a Bible study show one night with you. Boy, that'd be
Let's
something,
do
wouldn't
it.
it? Let's do it.
Let's,
I'm with you.
let's do
I'm
it.
open
All
to
right.
everything, sweetheart. All right, here we go. All right, next on, my sister from another mister, the one that don't take nothing, not even a blister. Let's give it up for my girl. The book of Genesis is in the building tonight. Genesis, your final thoughts, sweetheart.
My final thoughts are I'm saddened by what I hear tonight. That many people haven't been able to connect with a house of God that is functioning the way that it should. Um, I hope that's not the reality in the near future, because there are many churches out here that are actually doing good. You know, they're providing all types of outreach for the community, you know, legal clinics, counseling, actually financial resources. They are not all bad. And I hope that, you know, everybody here, if they aren't connected there, that they are able to connect and sow seed on good ground. Because I do believe in tithing, and I'm gonna piggyback off what Robbie said, that, you know, when you give, it comes back to you sometimes tenfold, 100-fold. So tap in, get connected.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Genesis. And thank you for your perspective as well. It was a choppy conversation tonight, wouldn't it, sis? It was.
Yes,
It was. A lot of people had a
I
lot of
need a
different
cleanse
views.
now. I need
And
a
a lot of
cleanse
people,
now.
yeah, and I wanted to say this as well. A lot of people may look at the situation tonight and say, hey, listen, you know, somebody said this and somebody said that. Hey, listen, I understand, right? And I can be apologetic about it. And I can sit in here and, you know, say different things about it, guys. But I do want to say to you guys that even though we may not like everything that we hear, everybody still has a right to say what it is that they say. And if you're offended by it, then you can bring as much smoke as you want to the offense, right? And some of the things that we can't get out here on this channel is because of there's things that we're trying to do with our channels, that there's where we're trying to get somewhere with our channels, where we want to reach more people, and we can't have YouTube in our business trying to shut us down, because, you know, the smallest thing will get you shut down. But anything above that, I want everybody's perspective. And if you have smoke for that person, that's what guys in the comments, give me your comments. That's what that's there for, right? If you want to come up and we open up the lines, we'll open up the lines to you and let you come up and have smoke for anybody you want. All right. So I want you to be able to say what you want to say respectfully and according to the policies of YouTube. And I want to be able for my panelists to say what they want to say, and you just bring them the smoke. So, guys, I want to bring up my guy. Man, thank him for being here, man. I reached out to him today because I knew his perspective would be awesome. And it was, man. It is good to have men on the panel, such as Information Man. It's good to have women on the panel like Raw B and Genesis, Jedi Mike, Young Mind, Jedi Mike, Mr. Bennett. Come on, man. We had an all-star cast tonight, guys. And I think that we should continue on with what we're doing. Mandrea has his own perspective as well. Mandrea, I'm a human. Charge it to my head, not my heart. A chaotic truth. You guys may think chaotic truth is a straight up butthole. However, you have to cipher through what he's saying to hear what he's saying. And you'll get something from, listen, my grandmother always said, guys, you'll always get something, even if it came from somebody you don't respect. So, guys, I just wanted to say that. So, Information Man, thank you for being here tonight, man. What are your final thoughts, my brother?
I just want to say thank you for letting me be a part of the show tonight. It was my first time on your panel in this capacity. It was an excellent conversation. And for the most part, I felt like people at least made the attempt to listen to what people were having to say. even if people disagree with certain points that people make, that's the only way we get to a solution and get to unifying ourselves, by having these conversations, even if there are things that are uncomfortable that are said, if people have different perspectives. And I think just keep doing what you're doing, brother. This channel is going to grow. And I think that, I know the sister that was on earlier was saying that it was kind of sad to her to see that some people may not want to be a part of the house of God. But got to remember, my sister and everyone listening, that the house of God is not just inside of a building. God is all around us. So therefore, when you believe in God, you have spirituality and you connect with your God, which is a personal relationship. It doesn't matter if you go to church every Sunday. God knows where your heart is, because there's a lot of people who go to church on Sunday who really don't have their heart in the right place, and God can see that. So let's just keep having these dialogues, keep coming together, understanding one another to come to a solution. I think that black men are leaving the church, have left the church because they see the flaws. But the one point that was made earlier is that what if black men would have stayed with it? Maybe we could reshape it if we were willing to do so. That's a possibility. You never know what's going to happen in the future. But it's just a great conversation, brother. So thank you for having me on here again. And everybody, I'm going to give everybody a clap and salute everybody, because I think everybody, up here was $100. And at some point in time, brother, I got to get you on my channel to interview you about what you're doing over here.
Absolutely.
So that my audience knows about you, and so on and so forth.
Anything you need, man. Don't worry about
Hey.
drugs after five.
Well, I've got to be respectful to the host, brother. He invited me, so it was only respectful for me to throw out the olive branch. I think I subscribe to some of the folks' channels up here. I got you, Chaotic, got your channel and what have you. So you'll see me around. I do my thing. And what I like about this is that it was about truth tonight. And that's sort of the theme of what I do on my channel. It's about telling the truth. Okay, everybody? So take care and peace, everybody. Thank you.
And you know Tell the truth, man, before you leave.
Yes,
I
sir.
do want to say this to you as well, man. Next Tuesday, there's a lot of rift in the streets about black men not being able to understand that black men have left, and black men have left their homes, and black men have left women, and women are stressed out, and the men are just taking over. And so what I'm going to do,
Yes, sir.
I had a guest on my show last week. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a show called Understanding the Black Woman on next Tuesday.
Oh, that's going to be excellent. I definitely can't wait for that
so
one.
I'm going to have a panel of women.
Wow.
All black women. And we're going to have that discussion. So, man, I will reach out to you because I may want to have you in there co-hosting that thing, because I know you're an advocate for that as well.
Oh, most definitely, brother. I appreciate that. You know how to reach me, and I'll be there, brother. If it's around this same time, I'm definitely be there. So.
And also, before he leaves,
the information, brother.
Before he leaves, my episode tomorrow is gonna. I'd like for you and Mr. Bennett, information man, if you could tune in tomorrow to my show. It's 8:30 tomorrow night, right?
Okay, then I'll be able to.
Yeah, Chaotic Truth is going to be co-hosting with me tomorrow.
Okay.
The title of the episode is The Conservative Conundrum.
Okay.
Make sure you're there early so you can hear what that title is all about. Because, like I said, it's probably going to be my most viewed. It's not going to be anything messy, but will definitely be controversial.
Okay.
That's why I said it'd be probably my most viewed one, right? Chaotic Truth and I are going to sit down. We're going to chop it up. We're going to figure this thing out. And we want to hear from some intelligent brothers, what you think.
Well,
why is this a thing? Chaotic and I are going to try to figure this out on our own. Then we're going to bring some of you guys up.
That's 8:30 tomorrow, information man, on this network.
Okay.
So 8:30 Central Standard Time for Mandrell. So make sure y'all tune in to that as well. Information man, I'll send y'all information about that show next week, man, so we can get that going, brother.
Yeah, let me know what's going on with that, and we'll get some things cracking.
Yeah, and for everybody to know, because if you're going to grow, you got to put the seeds out there for people to see them.
Right.
I'm also, the week after that, maybe I'm going to make sure I get everybody intact. But the week after that, I'm going to have a show called Speaking to Our Sons, and I'm going to have some adult men like ourselves, and then I'm going to have some young men on 16, 17, 15 years old, where we can speak life into them as well. So that's coming up as well, brother.
Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Are you repurposing your content? Are you taking this, because StreamYard allows you to do some other things.
Right.
Are you taking the audio and repurposing it into a podcast as well?
I am not, but I will talk to
All
you
right.
about that though.
Well, you need to do no. Now, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but please check out my Info Media Live channel because I give a lot of tips. I have another channel where I give strategies and tips on how to build YouTube channels, and I'm going to be doing a video about repurposing. And if you and I think what you're doing over here would be fantastic because you could literally build another audience in the podcasting world because there are people who just like to listen to audio. You see what I'm saying? Right. And you can sometimes pull those people over to your YouTube channel with repurposing it in different places and areas. Just one of those things I wanted to tell you because you got something, you and Sir Hill and other brothers like you guys have something going really well here. And I've been on YouTube for quite some time, brother. And I've been on panels where things are chaotic. And I'm starting to see something different on YouTube with brothers like yourself, where we can actually have tough conversations without people being over the top disrespectful to each other. And those are the kind of panels that I really respect when people get a little emotional here and there, but when it's not over the top, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there's something with more brothers like you coming on board into YouTube, we could hopefully filter some of the nonsense out that goes on some of these panels where where black men and women are just kind of going at each other. So I like this already. So thank you. I'm gonna drop off. Peace to you all.
All right, man. Yeah, and as much information as you can send, man. We'll hook up, bro.
Okay, brother.
I appreciate
Peace.
you, brother.
Peace to everybody on the panel and in the chat room too. Peace.
Take care. God bless you.
All right, now chaotic truth, man. What are your final thoughts for tonight, brother?
Well,
because you may need security after you log off, but go ahead.
Considering the fact that I really didn't even speak tonight, I just want to point out that I waited 30-minute intervals as a test, really, of sorts. Like always, I didn't say anything. People have their opinions and perspectives. I don't say anything because I respect the First Amendment and also respect your natural human right to think however you want to think. As soon as I spoke, soon as I gave my opinion, my perspective, a dude who doesn't even show his face on camera, Lucky Marie, and Raw B all had an issue with what chaotic truth is saying. Now, I believe that we are apes. That's why I said that. I believe all human beings are apes. That's biology. Now, I also believe that these pastors are doing no wrong, whether they are the storefront pastor or whether they are the pastor that's in front of 30,000 people. Now, I do want to end on this, and this is for Lucky Marie, and this is for Raw B. Since you guys want to give out Bible verses all day, I have a Bible verse for you two women. It's Proverbs 21:9. It is better to live in a corner of a roof than in a house shared with a contentious woman. And on that note, Black Man Unfiltered, I will see you tomorrow, right, man? Drill, see you tomorrow, 8:30, right? Yeah. Go ahead.
All right, chaotic truth, man. Thank you for your perspective tonight, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah. Have a good one. Peace.
All right, bro. Peace. All right. Now we got coming up now, we got Mandrell. Mandrell, your thoughts for tonight.
My thoughts for tonight, I mean, you definitely brought up a good question. And unfortunately, the conversation, as they normally do, took different detours here and there. However, giving tithes and offering, ultimately, that's up to the individual if they want to or not. I mean, the Black church as an institution as a whole has failed. It's not failing or has failed somewhat. No, it has failed utterly and completely. It is done. There are some churches here and there that do good job, do good work, and I think they should continue to do so, serving their community. But also everyone out there, please give a little grace to people who have a different outlook on spirituality than you do. Everyone's walk with God is supposed to be completely different. If you're doing the same thing as everyone else, you're doing it wrong. Like I said, after all this time, just a few weeks ago, I met the one person who actually got me. So, everyone walk with God. and respect everyone else's point of view. That's it.
All right, thank you, my brother. I appreciate you, man. All right, last but not least at all, my brother, been hanging out with me for a while now. Thank you, Mr. Bennett, man.
Thank you for
Mr. Bennett, last week I gave everybody flowers and you were gone by the time I could get to you. But I do want to say thank you for all your support. Thank you for the love that you have for the channel, for the network. Thank you for showing up, man, and giving your perspective. But also, man, thank you for just being you. Thank you for being a great father, a great husband, a great example in our community of what men should be, man. God bless you. God bless your family. Everything you touch, I pray that God multiplies it by 10, my brother.
Thank you so much. Blessings to you. All right. Well, again, thank you, Juan, for tackling this. Again, this topic like this could be lethal in certain circles. So for your boldness to bring up this topic and to really push the issues that we don't talk about, salute to you for doing that. And then taking the risk, because again, these conversations, they can spin out of hand very quickly. But thankfully, for shout out to the mods and the people who kind of held this together, even though it got contentious at times. Shout out to everybody who was able to keep this in a format that I think if people really go back and listen, hopefully they'll get something from. My closing comments, really going to shout out some of those from Jedi Mike. Shout out to that young brother. I mean, there's so much gift in that young man. I just pray that God just continues to use him. But I share a sentiment in that we are a church community. For those of faith, those who are Christians, we are a community. So when there's things that are going on in our community that is hurting other people, that messages are going out, that people are being abused, we should all hurt from that. And just like he did, certainly I would apologize, for anyone who's offended by those who are in the name of God, in the name of Christ, who are doing things that are only to enrich themselves and abusing other people. So that and church hurt is a real thing, and we have to be mindful and respectful of that. And so again, for those who thought they were giving their money to a good and righteous cause, but found out that it was something else, again, we can totally understand that. So for those people, I was saying, could just continue to give as God leads you to give. But as far as this topic in general, I just encourage people, please get educated on these principles of tithing or just giving in general. Because again, God loves a cheerful giver, but he also loves informed people. This shouldn't be a faith of ignorance, but people should be operating from knowledge. So once you have knowledge, then you can certainly go and act accordingly and give as the Lord leads you to give. And so I would encourage those people, if you're still in the church, stay with the church. I mean, I'm to the point now where, like I said, Jedi Mike, I'm still in it, and they're going to have to kick me out before I leave it, because you never know, there's young men, there's young boys in that church. They need male role models and figures to look up to there if their fathers aren't there. So, so again, I encourage men, yes, church has problems, but if we're talking about being men in these places, we don't just run from problems, we face them and we go after them and we make corrections and stand up to when there's abuses going on, we stand up to them. So I would encourage men, don't just be, quick to run away from the issue, see what you can do until you can't do anymore. And then again, salute to Information Man. It was a privilege sharing the podium with him tonight, because he really brought some interesting things and just the work that him and through the Alphas are doing. Shout out and salute to him. Now I'll be following his content in the future. But again, thank you once again, Black Man, for all you're doing. And again, I just pray, just as you pray for me, again, 10, 50, 100 fold back to you as well. And that this channel continues to be a place where we can have the family conversation for the empowerment of our people for the better. And I know you take on a lot of stuff. You take on a lot of heat. I was on the security post show the other night. You and Brother Bolo were kind of going at it a little bit. Yeah. So I know there's stuff that goes on in this community and whatnot. But again, I encourage you, brother, just continue to go as the Lord leads you. Be empowered by the Spirit, that you can take on the flames arrows that are going to come at you. And so if anyone's not praying for you, I am. And that again, I appreciate you just allowing me to be a part of this and in these places. I really appreciate the fellowship. And this is a good place, and I encourage everyone subscribe to this channel and see what God's going to be doing in this place in the future. So that's my prayer for you, my brother.
Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you, man. See you in the back in a little bit. So guys, thank you guys for being here tonight. I got a new member tonight. That's going to be Raw B. Raw B, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. I appreciate you guys. If you have not become a member, please do. It's going to start next week, guys. Next week, if you think this show is live and off the chain, the after shows be more live than this. And starting next week, we're going to have a members only live shows afterwards, so you guys can hear and see what's going on backstage when we go backstage and have a second conversation. So guys, I appreciate you guys for being here tonight. Make sure you become a member. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like, because again, I want this channel to fly. I want this channel to be important to what we're trying to do out here and talk about the questions. So next week, guys, understanding the black woman is going to be amazing. I think that we're going to have some black women speaking to some black men out here and try to get them to understand, what we don't understand. So we're going to see how that's going to go. And then the week after that, we're going to talk to our young men. So there's a lot of great things happening at the Black Man Unfiltered Network. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you to all the panelists tonight. Thank you for being here tonight. Raw B, Mandrell, Jedi Mike, Genesis, Mr. Bennett, Canadian-born Nigerian. Thank all the guests for coming up. Thank you for being here as well. If I forgot to say your name tonight, church to my head, not my heart, I still love you. But again, thank you guys so much for the cash apps. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the super stickers. Everything that you do makes this channel grow. And without you guys, this is not going to happen. Information Man, thank you for all the jewels that you dropped tonight as well. Intelligent Brothers, Intelligent Conversations. Thank you guys. And I did order security for Chaotic Truth. So when he walks out, everything will be, he'll be okay. I mean, hopefully. But no, shout out to Chaotic Truth anyway. He's chaotic. And it's both. His name is true in both ways. He's chaotic and he's telling the truth sometimes, guys. But some of the things we disagree with him, I disagree with some things on him as well. But we still have to respect everybody's views. So this has been another episode of Black Man Unfiltered. I love you guys. Take care. Oh, and I can't, Gina's going to kill me if I don't say it. Guys, be nice to each other. Do something nice for somebody. Buy somebody's grocery that's standing in line. Buy somebody's coffee. Sponsor somebody's kid in a football league, guys, if you don't have any sons. Do something nice for someone. And if you don't have anything or anybody else do anything nice for, do something nice for yourself, because self-care is the best care. You guys stay well, you stay good, you stay prayed up. If you don't pray, stay healthy and stay good in whatever you believe. This has been another episode of Black Man Unfiltered Talk That Talk Tuesday. Thank you guys for watching. Dance it out in the end, baby.